We are Squawking Dead, a podcast, pulverizing episodes of the Walking Dead universe. Sometimes we give you news, sometimes we give you laughs. Other times, most times, we go deep. And today's episode, we go over Look at the Flowers. I don't have too much time for this intro, but I will tell you this. If you do want to support the podcast, so that I don't have to deal with ransomware on a daily basis, see this link right here? Head over to that link, ko-fi.com/squawkingdead. What we like to do is give you guys the opportunity to just buy us a coffee. One coffee gives you 30 days worth of exclusive access to our unedited recordings, which are voluminous. We have we do a little pre-show before we do the official recording. We take out so many edits because that's the way you can cancel us. You know, you give us a little money, you can cancel us. We do mention that in the episode, actually. I didn't cut that out. And we do a little post-show, a little cool down, a little wrap-up. So, yes, for less than a cup of coffee, that will give you 30 days of access. And if you kindly subscribe, not only will you not lose that access and go, hey, why can't I access this locked post? You won't have to worry about that, but you will also be in the annals of our monthly Percolation Nation blog, where we praise you profusely. We link to your social media and any websites that you want us to promote for when we talk about you. So, yes, head over to ko-fi.com/squawkingdead. And one thing that we did mention in the video that I do want to mention is that if you do not have the means to back us for any reason, even if it's just $3, this pandemic has kind of taken over our lives and has made us a little crazy. And so not everybody has the means. Don't worry about it, because we've been doing a lot of free stuff. We've been doing a lot of live watches. So head over to ko-fi.com anyway, and then set up an account and just follow Squawking Dead from your coffee account. If you do that, you'll get notifications via desktop if you enable them for Chrome, and you will get email notifications whenever we post something. And odds are you'll be able to see a lot. First of all, you'll be able to see when we do post exclusive content, but you'll also be able to see when we actually post just unlocked content, which we do often now. You'll know when we premiere something. You'll know when we do any live watches of, let's say, The Twilight Zone, or I have an upcoming one that's going to be really great for you horror fans, or schlocky horror fans. So do that. Head over to ko-fi.com. You don't have to give us anything, but set up an account there and just follow Squawking Dead. In the meantime, enjoy the episode. I'm sorry that this is so brief, and love you very much. And give us some feedback. When you do start watching the video, give us a like, leave a comment, tell us where we went wrong, because I'm sure there are many places where you will find that we did. And if I don't catch you guys sooner, have a great weekend, and keep in touch. In any case. We are Squawking Dead, a podcast pulverizing episodes of the Walking Dead universe. Sometimes we give you news, sometimes we make you laugh, most times, we go deep. And for starters, I need to do this. And that's for medical health professionals. Since we started to record around 7 o'clock, I wanted to wait until we actually signed in and we could clap. And it's actually I don't know if it's International National Health Workers Day. It's actually Doctors Day, but they kind of made it for health workers and stuff. So I want to start the trend of having us as TWD family who have friends and family who are in the healthcare profession, to see if we can actually do that. Just give them a little bit of applause around 7 o'clock your time every day. So give that a thought. We're going to give it a whirl. We'll put it on our social media for tomorrow. It's 7 p.m. somewhere. Give your healthcare professionals a round of applause. I'll create a little graphic for it too. I want to see if we can get this going for the duration of this pandemic. I want to give a special shout out to Darren, who made it to our recording. Hey, buddy. Before we continue, we want to make sure that you guys rate this podcast at ratethispodcast.com/squawkingdead. 5 stars and an eggplant is all we need to get us trending on all podcast platforms. If you go to ratethispodcast.com/squawkingdead, you'll have the ability to choose based on your device or where you're coming in from, let's say your browser. You'll have the choice to rate us on different various podcast platforms, usually Apple. But if you're on an Android device, it'll give you like Stitcher or something like that. It tailors it for your experience. So if you could rate us in any of these podcast places, that would help us out a lot. I actually checked us out on a list of Walking Dead podcasts, and we're actually on the list. We're like, like what? 10, we're like 12, 14, maybe 16 in that list. Like we're below.
Still, that's awesome.
Yeah, we're below Talk Dead to me, but I'm gonna work on it, Johnny Odell. I'm gonna come after you. So. Yeah, I'm your host, David Cameo, and with me is CosmoMom09, Rachel Burt. I'm going to give this over to you to say how you feel about this episode, because I'm sure you have a lot of mixed feelings given the subject matter.
Ooh, yes, I sure do. I think for me, the biggest message I got out of this entire episode, I think a lot of people will agree, is forgiveness, right? Forgiving others, forgiving ourselves. It was pretty clear. I don't think I'm reaching for that by any means. Carol specifically, I think a lot of it was forgiving herself. And I didn't even realize until Alpha started talking, well, Carol talking to herself through Alpha, how much stuff that she actually blamed herself for that I didn't blame her for. But looking back, I could see, why she would think that way. Specifically, allowing Henry to go to Hilltop in the first place. I mean, that in her mind was probably her first mistake, letting him go. If he wasn't there, he'd still be alive.
Would you say that was a mistake, though? I don't think that was a mistake. I mean, she was just doing her best.
At the time, no, I don't think it was a mistake. But this is Carol now looking back at all of her past actions, going... Or
she blames herself at least. Like, less of a mistake than...
Right.
Blaming herself for him getting killed in a way.
Sure. Yeah, because she allowed him to go, people getting hurt, and we know people have gotten hurt. Connie may be dead. I don't think she is.
But we won't talk about it. I'm kidding.
I don't think she is dead, but I mean...
Right. But the fact that she could have.
She could have, right.
Maybe. Who knows, though? Wow.
I think I also saw some extra... desperation in Carol when she was talking to Negan tonight too, when she says, what took you so long? What took you so long? All of a sudden I'm like, okay, that's why she was so desperate. That's why she was so panicky. He had this mission, and from where she was at, nothing was happening. And she's probably thinking, oh shit, now I have to go do this myself.
Well, she wasn't, she was having a hard time as well. Every little thing she did. I mean, she did the one thing, which was capturing one of the Whispers.
Yep.
However, that blew up in her face.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that has to do with, it's this desperation. Everything that she did thereafter just blew up in her face. And so, I don't know if it's just a matter of desperation. And it is a matter of desperation. Mm-hmm. But a lot of it, her shit comes from, and it always has been, a matter of control. It's never rang more true than when we talked about her last week, when we talked about Karen and David, mm-hmm. how she stabbed them in the head and burned them up while they were still alive. It's a matter of control. She's always wanted to be in control of the situation,
which makes sense, right? I mean, given Carol's history, a woman of her with her history would want control. She would need to feel in control. Right.
I know people who have been abused, physically abused in their lives. Sometimes it manifests in that way, that they need some semblance of control, to be aware of their surroundings at all time, even though we all most of us know, or at least in the back of our minds know, that there is no control. There is no you don't have 100%. I mean, think about now what we're going through now. You do not have control of the situation. Even if you think you have control of the situation and you take matters into your own hands in terms of, okay, let's not keep social distancing. Let's, I'm in control. I know better. Like, somebody around there is gonna remind you of that really quick, or you may find out the hard way, which is you don't have control, you will get sick, and then you may end up somewhere you don't want to be. Worst case scenario. But I've noticed that a lot, like throughout the series, but like throughout the last season even. Like, every move she makes is, I'm the one that needs to be in control. I have to be the one handling the situation, which is, even before like we found out that Negan and her had a pact. There was this sense of, it's on me, it's up to me, and so if the more people I let in, the less control I'll have in the situation. But even after we find out about Negan, it still applies. And so going back to when she said, "What took you so long?" Of course she's not looking at herself. It's hard because after all her failures, you can only look at yourself so much. Right? You can only look at yourself so much until at some point you're like, I can't keep blaming myself. Negan, what took you so long?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If you had done this sooner, I wouldn't have had to.
Right.
Whatever.
Right. This wouldn't. Me almost killing our friends wouldn't have happened. Potentially killing our friends. Or this, or killing Daryl, or etc.
Both Carol and Daryl, they have a point, though. I mean, they don't know this, but we, the viewers, do. Negan did have several chances. He was alone with Alpha several times before he finally decided to kill her. He could have ended it sooner, which goes back to what he said, though. He enjoyed it.
Negan? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with that. There was something that we talked about before we signed on, and it's something that you brought up, and it was about the holding back of the real season finale.
I have this problem with things that are left undone. Okay, so I found out last week that the actual finale is not going to be aired until we don't know when. We don't know when. I am handling this very well at the moment, but I am actually completely panicking on the inside. I have been reeling for days since you guys told me about it. And I'm kind of panicking about it. I'm not even going to lie, because I have this problem. I know that we're not going to have that episode. And I mean, eventually, right? I mean, can we say eventually?
Yeah, eventually, for sure.
Okay. All right. So eventually this episode will come out. So where I'm at right now, I don't even want to watch next week's episode until I know the finale, right? Until I know the finale is going to be out. This is so bad. And Dave, I told you this before we started recording too. It's not just a Walking Dead thing. I started watching Outsiders, which Ryan Hurst is also in, but they got canceled after 2 seasons. They got canceled after 2 seasons. I watched that show probably over a year ago, and to this day have not watched the final episode of season 2 because I know there's nothing after it.
No.
And I won't. I will not watch that episode because I know once I do, it's done. And that it's going to be left undone, and I can't do that.
I've done that. I've done that too. Especially if the show is canceled. That's the worst. If you know the series is going to end, okay, you may delay it for a few days. And obviously we can't do that here because it's The Walking Dead. The show must go on. Right. But yeah, I did that for Haven. I don't know if you remember Haven. I think it was on Sci-Fi, if I'm not mistaken. I thought it was a great show, and I think it lost its way a couple times and found its way back. But then, so here's the thing: it had its run, and I didn't see any more seasons queued in Hulu. And then I stopped before the last episode because I did the same thing exactly like you did. I said, "Oh, if I watch this episode now, there's no more episodes." So I did that. 1.5 years later, I found out that there was a final season. So I'm like, why didn't anybody tell me? So there's one episode from the season, and then I have a whole other set of episodes from the last season. And because it was one of those episodes that was ambiguously ended. It was this weird ambiguous ending, because I saw the previews for the next what I thought the last episode was, and it was just kind of like, oh, I don't know if I want to watch this. I don't think this is going to end well. I also do that with long shows that I know have long since finished, like airing. So like if I'm catching up on a classic series, I'll start slow playing the last season, and then the last episode will be like, maybe I'll finish that next week. Maybe I'll finish that in a month.
Right?
Maybe I'll never finish that. Like you know what I did that too. I finally started watching. This was several years back actually, when I lived in the other apartment. Before I met Evelyn, for sure. The Incredible Hulk with Bill Bixby, the live action Incredible from the 70s.
Oh yeah,
70s/80s. So I watched it all the way through, and then like it came to like the last 4 episodes, and then like I would watch them like months apart. It would be on my list, and I would wait for that list to go down where it was like downward further down the list, the watch list, and then I'd be like, okay, I'll bring that back up to the top, and then wait for it to go to the bottom again. And so so like when the last episode hit, I started crying. I was like, okay, I just feel more of this. It's a good thing. It's a good thing it was bad though. It wasn't that great.
I do the same thing. Like I'll wait for an entire show to complete like its entire. Like if I know a show has completely ended and the series is done, I'll watch the whole thing.
Even the last episode.
Even the last episode, yes,
right,
because it ended on its terms. It ended when it was supposed to. Now, I don't always agree with the ending. I could say that was a shitty ending, but at least it was an ending.
Right. The thing of it is that like with these new series and like the ability to binge watch like newer shows, that feeling is going to come up over and over again, like in different ways. Yeah. Let's say you decide not to watch the World Beyond, TWD World Beyond. I'll catch it on the repeats, but you know there's 2 seasons. So how are you going to approach that, right? So like you're going to wait till it's over, then watch the whole thing, not watch the last one, wait for the second season to come out. You're like, okay, I'll watch the last one, and then I'll watch the first one for the next season. But that's how TV is going to be now. Like how all those Netflix shows that queue everything up out front, and you know there's going to be another season of it. Like that could be a problem. So
I know, and I thought I have half pondered that for World Beyond, but I think it's going to be too important to watch them week by week because I think
it's too important not to watch them week by week.
Right. Like I think we'll get things each week that we need to see and know exactly before, the next show starts. Because we'll have Walking Dead will end, then World Beyond, then Fear. So we'll need all that information before the new season of Fear begins. So I can't not watch it.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's like a job requirement.
Right. Oh, Darren has a good point. Watching next week's episode will feel like the last 10 minutes of season 6 than waiting to find out who got Lucille. Yep, exactly. Yes. Except we won't have a date to look forward to. It'll just be a big question mark up in the air.
I'm completely fine with that.
I'm so not. Not.
I'll tell you why. I tell you why, because I think they're going to end this season finale, aka episode 15. I know I put in this in quotes. That is a fact. Episode 15 is a fact. Parentheses. So, so I think they're going to end that episode off on a cliffhanger.
Because, well, duh.
and not to jump to sneak peeks, but like with the Horde overrunning Alexandria, somewhere in there, maybe in the beginning, it may be at the end. It's looking pretty dire. If they're making these Beta's making these big moves, like it could very well end up, first of all, with a death.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then second of all, with the bad guys getting the upper hand, again with the quotes, bad guys, quote unquote, having the upper hand. And then, like, again, we haven't had the Maggie reveal yet. So that may, like we said, that may be that episode 16.
That's coming. Yeah, I think that's coming in 16. Honestly, I think Maggie's reveal is going to be pretty similar to Princess's.
Yeah, well, that's, kind of like the way we put it a couple episodes ago. Yeah, I think so too.
The last second.
Johnny come lately. She's going to come in when, like, she's no longer needed to. Or, like I said, it'll be like months later, Maggie just casually shows up on screen. Like, wait, what? Hey, wait, where were you? What happened?
Or we'll see. Well, Alexandrians will decide that Negan can be released. Or maybe he breaks out when the Walker herd, comes for Alexandria. He gets out. The first time we see Maggie, she sees Negan on the road. as he's escaping Alexandria.
Oh, that would be perfect. And you know what? I have seen still production frames of Negan and Lydia in an apartment, and Negan's cooking her something on a stove.
What?
So it's spaghetti maybe again for Carl.
In an apartment?
Yeah, like in this weird, like apartment or like a
Okay.
like a
Not
like
an
this,
Alexandrian home.
it doesn't appear
Definitely.
to be.
Okay.
Yeah, because last we
Mhm.
left Lydia, she had ran out of the shack, and we don't know where she ran to.
But we know that Daryl knew she was there. So I have to assume that Daryl showed up while
Well, we don't
Lydia
know that
was
Daryl knows that she's
still
there. We don't know that Daryl knows that she's still there or whatever she is.
Well,
All we know is
Daryl
that
was there.
Daryl showed
He
up
was there.
at the shack. Yeah, we don't know if Daryl knows where Lydia is. She could be at Alexandria. I mean, maybe this apartment is in Alexandria. I don't know.
So
But
could Daryl have just been at that house randomly?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe he saw evidence that's of a entry and escape suddenly. All he knows is what he saw when those two hilltop scouts were hanging from the trees
Yeah.
and the roadblocks. So he knew that at least that aspect, that's
Was
what he
Negan.
knows. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe he was out looking for Lydia, happened to stumble on this house. I mean, she had already broken out and got out the front door. So we know Daryl didn't like release her. He didn't cut her out of the chair or anything. But he could have seen her running from the house. It seemed to me like Daryl at least knew Lydia was there and that Negan had put her there.
Yeah, I'm not ready to say that yet.
Okay. I mean,
there's
I
just
can't
too little-
say for sure.
Because
Just the
obviously
impression I got.
Daryl's of little words. So it's like you really don't know what he knows.
Right.
Which is fine with me. Like as things
Maybe he
unfold,
said,
they can
"What did you
make
do
bold
to her?"
choices.
Maybe Daryl says to Negan, "What did you do to her?" I remember there's a line right there.
Oh
But
yeah, there is
anyway.
actually.
Like he knew Negan was going to be back. I mean, he was sitting there waiting for him.
Could be.
So
Yeah.
he knew Negan was going to be back.
And I think he did make reference to Lydia at one point. So
I know for sure Negan does.
Something.
I don't know
Yes.
that Daryl does. I know for
Right.
sure Negan does.
right, and then of course everybody's distracted by, or Daryl's distracted by the fact that like, oh, Negan and her had a pact because he was
Mhm.
wondering who let Negan out of the cell.
Well,
You know?
and Negan, of course, rubbing salt in that wound. Sorry, your girlfriend didn't tell you about our little pact. He even refers to Carol as Daryl's girlfriend. I'm
Yeah.
like, no, bro, don't go there.
Yeah, let's talk about that. But before that, Darren was saying before, like how when we were mentioning Carl making spaghetti, whatever, he was like, because Chandler Riggs has a Twitch channel, and his Twitch channel name is Carl Grimes, and he shit posts and shit talks all the time on his stream all the time.
Honey, weren't we watching Chandler's Twitch channel the other night? Yeah, we were watching it the other night.
How commercially viable.
It was funny. It's so weird. I mean, it's just weird. Because, like, he's a person. He's not Carl at all.
You're right. It's Chandler Briggs. Motherfucker Chandler Briggs.
Right? Playing video games.
Yeah. I don't know what it is, but I will say Carol Twitter, Caryl Twitter, went absolutely fucking berserk.
Oh, I bet. Oh, I wish I Twittered just so I could see all of that.
Oh my god! Sorry. And see, that's the thing. That was the like starter flame for like later when Carol says, "It's never too late."
Mm-hmm.
Everyone lost their minds. They're like, "It's never too late to hook up with Daryl. It's never too late to like start
And then
that shit."
And then who's at the gate to let her in?
Obviously, Daryl, right?
Obviously,
Like,
Daryl.
move aside. I gotta bone my lady.
Gotta let my lady in. My old lady. You know he would call his girlfriend an old lady.
Right. I gotta tickle her pickle.
Team Donnie, get out of here. Get out of here.
Darren just went Team Donnie. Triggered.
Donnie's dead. Sorry, Darren.
Thus
I'm kidding.
reinforcing that Carol got somebody killed.
I'm kidding. I don't think she's
dead either. Oh my god! The sudden realization that she may not show up this season.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
Connie. Yeah. I mean, it's the closer that we get to the end, I'm not sure. Right? ugh. And what a question mark to leave on too. Like, okay, you're gonna leave that for next season, which won't start until maybe November, December. Right?
Really?
Maybe. Well, if they
What?
push the last episode even further,
Oh, that's true. If
'cause I
that
think
gets pushed, everything gets pushed.
they only leave like basically a maximum of 2 months before they go in for principal photography.
Yes.
So,
I like it.
oh my God. So Darren goes, okay, fine. Team
I like
Bachel. So it's Beta and Rachel.
Team Bachel.
Eric, if you can hear me, what do you think about this?
Maybe. So, okay, I thought this was funny, and I think you'll agree. Alex, the doctor, is missing.
If we can find Alex.
Right. We don't even know who the hell Alex is yet. But now they're missing.
Yeah, Alexandra's in disarray. Hilltop is scattered to the four winds. I mean,
Right?
it's not great where we're at. It's really not.
This is where we usually are, just before the end of a season.
I really wanted to take a closer look at the Talking Dead sneak peek last night. Did you?
I did not know. I didn't see it.
Damn it. I did, but like the only note, well, I'll get to it, but like there was this weird part of it because it was an extended cut of what happens. Obviously, Beta's overlooking the Alexandria and the Horde is taken over. They're all just running roughshod inside Alexandria.
Okay.
And then, so it extends further that scene, and you see Aaron and Alden in the. So Beta is at the windmill, like at the balcony of the windmill.
Okay.
Remember where Sadiq was at the beginning of the season?
Yeah.
Like sleepwalking Sadiq?
Yep.
That's where Beta was overlooking the Horde. And right behind them in the spire of the windmill, like hiding out, is Aaron and Alden, like inside the windmill, like at the top.
Mm-hmm.
And they're looking at Beta and two other Whisperers on the balcony, and Aaron's like mouthing out, okay, like Beta's the one, and the two Whisperers on the side. And then Aaron's writing on his arm, and his metal arm, like what they are. And then Alden takes another look, and Beta almost kind of flinches behind him, and almost, I don't know if he does or he doesn't, but I think he catches Alden looking on right behind him.
Mm-hmm.
And so it leaves off there, but there was a bit right in between where Beta, it seems like Beta is hearing voices. It's this weird mixed voice of like Alpha and himself, like telling him where to go. And I think it was Oceanside. So because Hilltop's done, Alexandra's done. Yeah. So like this voice, this weird hybrid voice, weird voice in his head is telling him Oceanside, blah, blah, blah. So I think that's what it said. There's no subtitles, so I couldn't.
Weird. Yeah, it's not totally weird because we saw him lift the bag up to his ear in this episode, and Alpha basically guided him into that apartment.
Right.
Question mark with all the musical instruments and all that.
Right, but now we get to hear it in his head.
Right. Now we hear the voices.
Which is creepy. It's so creepy. It was hardly intelligible. That was the thing.
Ugh. I don't want this to get confused. I totally understand why the episode is being pushed off. I'm not holding it against anybody. I'm not blaming anybody, but I am upset about it, but I understand why. So,
oh yeah, I was upset about it too. No, I was totally upset about it. It was a tough grapple, and then logic prevails, and you're like, oh, I want what's best for the show too. Whatever.
Obviously.
Whatever keeps it on the air longer. Important note before we continue. Officially now, you will be able to for free watch the first 8 episodes of The Walking Dead season 10, and this will go on through the month of April, basically April 5th to the end of the month on AMC.com for free, 1 through 8. So tell your friends. Let's move on to Beta, and then we'll jump back and forth. We're seeing a Beta that is, once he encounters Alpha, Cake Pop Alpha.
Right.
The Cake Pop you don't want.
My gosh.
He's a little upset. He's a little
bit.
He's a little disappointed.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. Nothing too big. It's Beta after all. Like the baseline isn't
Right.
that. No, he's fucking crazy. We do see a moment where we see this twice in the episode. Two Whisperers that are with him when they discover Alpha basically proclaim him to be the new Alpha, and he doesn't take too kindly to that. At least I've always thought that about him. I think if the power was even presented to him to be an Alpha, he can't do it. He doesn't want it. And I think I think this episode illustrates why, among many other things.
Because he's already been on the top.
Yeah, that's right.
He
Legendary singer.
He knows how lonely the top is.
Maybe it's loneliness, but it could be a shit ton of other things. Like, we all know what happens to people once they get like a taste of power, let's say. Power, prestige, and all the foibles that come along with it, like the ability to get drugs, like all the issues with money and rights.
Yes, men. Yeah. I mean, surround yourself with people who just agree with you all the time. Yeah, no, it sucks. It goes back to everything that Negan was saying to Alpha. You have all these people telling you that your shit don't stink, but guess what? It does. Right. I think Beta's already been through all that. He knows his shit stinks.
Yeah, and he crumbled under the weight of his own success, let's say.
Before the apocalypse,
right.
Even, I think.
Right. See, and you know what's funny? I didn't write any of this in my notes.
I didn't either.
Go figure. It wasn't until we started breaking down, like, okay, why is he responding this way to Alpha's head? You know, like, oh, I don't want to be the beta. This is not what I signed up for. I signed up to be a beta.
Yeah. Part of me also thought, you know, we've talked a lot about his mental state, you know, his mental health. And I kind of was focusing more on that, thinking, you know, when he saw Alpha's head and, you know, the one guy says, oh, you're the Alpha now. Like, in his mind, because he does not have rational thought the way a normal person does, in his mind, when the other Whisperer said that, he really thought he was being disrespectful to the Alpha. Like, right. Like, it didn't click yet that she was dead. Right. The thing you're looking at is not alive. That's not your Alpha anymore. But he still felt the need to respect her.
Yeah, and maybe even more so. Maybe because, let's take a stab at the cult of the Whisperers. Like, maybe when you become a guardian, you ascend, but you can't kill yourself to become a guardian. I don't know. Maybe there's like special rules, like about how to become a guardian. Mm-hmm. You know, and
I can see that.
And she died the way she lived. She died by being attacked, let's say, and so that's how she ended up. Obviously, her head doesn't fall off on its own. So
right, exactly. And she didn't cut it off herself, so
right. That would be a feat, though. And even if she did, maybe that's even more of a reason to kind of respect her. Look what I did. Be able to
cut her own head off and get it up on a pike. Yeah, that would Yep.
Like Michael Jordan's forever. Wet dream. She shoots and she scores. Nothing but pike.
Oh my gosh.
Boom shakalaka. Yeah. Anyway. We always kind of had this idea of why he wouldn't want to become an Alpha. Like, even when Alpha was threatening him, like, with, oh, I guess it's time for Beta to become the Alpha, he was visibly like, you know, like, he was. He's just like, that's not what I'm about. Nope. I'm happy to be second in command, taking orders. You know, and so now we kind of know where his madness comes from, where his psychotic break comes from. And it comes from this fame. Like, even when he's peering out, like, in front of his crowd, his adoring fans of Whisperers, like, which was, just to see him,
crowd.
Right? And for him, was he mouthing the words?
It looked like he was crying. I thought he was crying. I thought he was stifling his crying.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we saw two different things. Or I don't know. Yeah. I assumed. I wasn't sure if he was actually singing the words or mouthing the words.
Yeah. I was also writing a lot of things down, so he may have mouthed the words while I looked down, and then when I looked up, he was crying. Who knows? I'm going to watch it again. I have to watch it again.
Darren's perspective is their whole thing was we don't feel. It felt like Beta was grieving. I think he was crying. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, they all say it, but I think they all know it's bullshit too. We don't feel bullshit. Everybody feels. You can't just turn that off.
I'll just say this much. I'm not going to say Beta gets a pass, but Also, Beta can do whatever the fuck he wants. If Alpha can get away with everything she wants, and Beta can be like, all right, okay,
Yeah.
I'll hide this from everybody. Okay.
It's funny, we've had this theory on Beta for a long time, like about his musical career and everything, but not until this episode did it hit us that that was the reason he wouldn't want to be Alpha. We never once talked
Right,
about
specifically.
why he until this episode, and then we all went, oh yeah, there's a lot of pressure that comes with that.
We've seen that.
He doesn't need to. Yeah, he doesn't want to be Alpha. He was Alpha before the apocalypse. He doesn't.
He
want
was
that.
hipster Alpha. He was Alpha before Alpha.
He doesn't want that responsibility.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But now I guess it was sort of thrust on him, and he has to take that on.
And yet not, because of the end. I mean, the end of the episode actually kind of puts it into perspective. It's like, okay, well, we're gonna play this. We're gonna play it this way. As you may or may not know, you probably do. Beta's stage name pre-apocalypse was Half Moon. That was his stage name. Or maybe it's his real name. What if it was his real name?
I thought that was just the name of the album.
First name Half, last name Moon. Because the poster on the concert poster lists him as Half Moon, legendary singer Half Moon. But he makes a Half Moon mask out of Alpha's face by the end of the episode. And so it's the dark side is his friend, and the light side, the moon side, is Alpha, essentially.
That's scary.
That...
She's the light side.
Well, I mean, if you really think about it, the friend was around during his dark times, like when he was going through the shit. And Alpha was the light, kind of like Lucifer, the light.
I guess
lifts him out of it.
Yeah, from his perspective, she would be the light.
Right? Yeah. Yes, purely from his perspective.
Right.
Yes.
Obvious. Yeah. Yep. I'm excited to watch that episode again tomorrow. I really want to pay closer attention to everything that happens in that room with Beta.
When you look at the production skills, you get a high res look at both the poster and like the contents of the room, of Beta's face and all that stuff. You'll see what you ought to be seeing from that room.
See, I want to go back and watch it in the episode though, because I feel like what is meant to be seen can be seen in the episode.
Like Beta's cell phone in his pocket. That's how we found out from the production photos.
Right. And that wasn't even in the episode.
It wasn't in the episode, which most people don't know about.
I know, which I'm really pissed off about, because everybody's, whatever about the phone showing up when it wasn't even in the episode. It didn't show up on television. Like this was a photograph.
And we're definitely
this show's better than that.
This is going to be its own little like footnote in the episode notes. The phone was not in the actual episode; it was in the production stills.
Exactly. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
When those pictures went out, I went, "Oh shit!"
Well,
like I was embarrassed.
Oh, because for the show, right? You're like, come on, they pulled a Game of Thrones. No.
Yep.
Oh, but you know what? Somebody else posted a couple of other photos from like past episodes of where Negan clearly has a phone in his pocket. Or sorry, Jeffrey Dean Morgan during the episode. Yeah. It's kind of funny. It is kind of funny. But like, that's the thing. Like, you wouldn't normally see it. Most people wouldn't see it.
A bigger question would be, why do they have them on them? Like, just set it down. Just hand it to somebody. Just hand it to someone.
Guys, we turn ours off. We turn it off and we put it away because it's showtime. It's showtime, folks. I don't care if the house is on fire. It's gonna burn. This will be the best live stream ever.
You're getting in front of the camera. You just go, oh, hey, here, hold on to that for a second while I shoot my shots, and then hand it back to me when I'm done.
Yeah, exactly. Getting to the point from what you were saying earlier, like in the episode when they show even the poster, let's say the poster from Austin, Texas, by the way.
Yeah.
But you'd have to be really eagle-eyed to see it and to pause at the right moment, because even the album, on the back of the liner notes, you don't see shit. Why? Because Beta is positioned in such a way that when he turns it over, his hand's in the way, and they flip it over and his head's in the way of the actual liner notes, and he flips to the cover. And then when he goes to the poster, his head and his shoulder are in the way of all the pertinent details. But in the production photos, they're wide open. There's some details that are missing. That's why I say don't bother, because I spent literally 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes like poring over some of the footage. And then I felt like shitty when they posted the production photos today. I'm like, this is way clearer than what I was trying to do. They're in high
probably look
resolution,
at
bright
both.
light. If I could shave off a minute or two, I'll feel better about myself.
Eh.
These two eyes see one truth.
Mm-hmm.
That's the lyric, I guess. I mean, it has to be, because I've written lyrics like that too.
Yeah. I was going to say, when he picked it up, it looked like someone was writing lyrics down. Yeah. Did you happen to catch any of the lyrics he was singing? Yeah. I meant to, but I didn't. It was clear he was singing to Alpha, though.
Well, I mean, even before that, that creeping thought behind everybody's head is that this was Beta's old apartment, let's say, wherever the fuck in Virginia, let's say. But as you see him walk through this place, the Grand Hotel, you start to notice that, okay, somebody, well, and the possibility actually is still there, but the fact of the matter is it's been 10 years, and so somebody else clearly was living there otherwise, and they had obviously shot themselves. I don't know where, because we don't see a body, but we do see a shotgun with a ton of blood on it. And
they
on
must
the floor
not
and all
have
that.
done it right.
They go into this place and you see evidence of a struggle and people died, and maybe the guy at the bar with the axe in his head was the guy who shot himself.
Who knows? Yeah.
Right? This was obviously a place where they played music, and musicians are in the back. Maybe the owner was a musician, but either way, lyrics were written there. They were a big Half Moon fan because they have the vinyls. So he sees this lyric, these two eyes see one truth. And that's kind of the impetus of where he gets the idea to take Alpha's face. And which is funny, because we should mention this, is that we did joke around last week.
We did.
What's he going to do next week? Wear Alpha? And I was like sitting there being like, no, she's obviously smaller. I mean, skin does stretch. But yeah, so we weren't that far off. Like, also, she's a tiny little head, too. But
well,
then
he just
again,
took one little piece.
Yeah,
right?
or a large piece that he could stretch out over.
Exactly. With his nice little with his one little nice groomed eyebrow.
What she like eyebrow pencil? Like,
right.
She needs to look great. She needs to look great. Put a little smoky eye at the top of the eye hole. Doesn't Samantha Morton look pretty?
Ooh.
Anyway.
Walker that ate the whisper with... Oh, he was coming from the hotel. Yeah. There was that walker coming out of the hotel, and the guy that Alpha took a bite out of walks over and is about to kill him. But then Beta kills him? What was up with that?
The thing that I noticed about that walker is that, and I only noticed it like the fourth watch. Like, didn't the walker that came out of let's say he came out of the Grand Hotel, didn't it kind of look a little like Beta or Half Moon? He had the beard.
Honestly, I kind of thought it was Stephen Sweet.
No. That's an insult to Stephen Sweet, because Stephen Sweet has a way more epic beard.
Oh, he does, but this walker's beard was like matted with blood, and like it was all true. Gnarly and stuff, and like, but yeah, like I thought, oh, that could be Stephen's beard.
That's the thing. The more I looked at it, the more I saw that, okay, what if this is an interesting reflection of like Beta, because he does have the long hair, the long beard, and like almost like in country, he was like in denim. He was in like a Canadian tuxedo.
Yeah, I
denim
saw
shirt,
that.
denim pants, cowboy buckle.
You know what else I noticed? And I just thought of it when we were talking. I thought you were going to say it, and then you didn't. So, but at the end, we're talking about the person who tried to kill himself but failed. So remember at the very end when he's on the balcony and he's overlooking all the walkers, and they all look pretty rough, except for one had fresh blood on him.
Oh, the one that ate the whisperer dude.
One,
right?
Was that him? I don't know. When you said that, I thought maybe maybe that was the guy. Maybe the one walker with fresh blood on it. Maybe he was the guy that missed.
The production stills actually show that walker that was going after the whisperer, the one that looks like Beta,
Uh-huh.
They showed in the production still with him with like blood on his mouth and face and hands, particularly.
Mm,
So it
okay.
could have been him. There's something to be said about like having your, because Beta's opening his arms wide to greet this guardian, let's say, and so
Mm-hmm.
I know he's only done that once before with Mary, which was interesting. Do you remember when Mary was animating and he had half his face off and it looked like Mary was
Oh,
gunning for him,
yes. Yeah.
which is interesting
That was weird.
because he would was not going to move and he could have been killed, which is like interesting because it, had Alden not mercied Mary, like Beta would have been dead or
Probably.
infected at least. Yeah.
Hmm.
And here he does it again with that guardian or that walker that stumbles out of the Grand Hotel. We'll just say that.
Yeah.
He does the same action. He has his arms open, and it's walking after him. It's
Hmm.
looking right at him, and it didn't look like he was going to stop. Now he could have gone for the Whisperer, right? But like, I wonder if there wasn't a part of him that, after seeing it happen to Mary, and after seeing what happened to Alpha, like there maybe
Mm.
wasn't like a little parallel going on between Beta and Carol.
Yeah. He's
If you
lost
think about
everyone
it,
that's important. And so he
because
was
what
just going to let the walker take him
yeah, because what is the Dark Carol slash Alpha saying to Carol? You know, what do you really want? Say it.
to die.
Yeah. And what is Beta
She
actually
wants
doing in that moment? Like,
trying. Well, it looks an awful lot like he wants to die as well. And I would agree with that because when he first gets up to that apartment area or whatever, and he sees it first hits him where he's standing, he destroys things. He's
right.
angry. He hates that. He doesn't want to remember it. And then all of a sudden, he comes around, and so yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think he probably in that moment gave up
Like
and
that little hint, right?
would have let himself get bit.
Right. And like you
Yeah.
said, when he goes up to the apartment, I think Beta is more upset that he's clinging on to anything that's familiar. Like that he's clinging on like the way a human would to an old life. You know,
Okay.
like you know when you suffer a loss, you want to cling to anything that anchors you into the moment. Like that
Hmm.
anchors you to reality. Like because you just feel like we were talking about with Carol, you feel like you're out of control. Like there's nothing
Hmm.
in your control anymore. So you're just trying to like latch onto a buoy, and for Beta that buoy happens to be his past because he has no
Hmm.
present now, and the only present
Right.
offered to him is being the Alpha, and that's not something he's ever wanted.
Mm-mm.
And the only familiar that he has left, because the two Whisperers that were with him, one ran away, and the other. And now I'm wondering if the one that ran away was the other one that was with Negan and Daryl. If any
Oh,
of those,
maybe.
right?
Yeah.
He ran away just to get fucking murked.
Just killed. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, it's amazing to see that and then he despises himself for like, and he's grieving. He's grieving this loss, and like
Hmm.
he's like smashing the guitar, and then he kind of leans into it, and he's like, "Let me play this thing. I'll play it to my crowd, my usual audience."
My crowd.
And there's this like little sick mixture of like the new meets the old in a way, like
Hmm.
the new meaning like the walkers, but the old meaning like he has this attention again
Yeah.
from a crowd.
Well, it was a
That's
good
not,
way to draw them in too. I mean,
and a good way to mix the hybridize like his two personalities, like his like this
Mhm.
to be this weird alpha that's not really an alpha, like manipulating the crowd as artists do. They're just trying to make them feel something. And so
This crowd
yeah,
just feels hungry.
hungry for more.
Hungry for more country. I don't know. I don't know what that means for him going forward, though.
I mean, by the time he figures it out, though, by the end of it,
Hmm.
and from that Talking Dead extended scene, it looks like he's still hearing Alpha's voice through him. It looks like his mind is making up the deficiency that he has about being the Alpha. Like he can be Alpha as long as she's with him
There,
all the
yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So
Oh my gosh.
that's
He just
the
sits
thing.
there like this. What do
Yeah. I like the way your skin feels against mine.
So gross.
Well,
So
his friend's been with him for a long time.
I know it. Ugh, I
My
know.
lover. His lover and his savior on his face all the time.
Oh God, that's
Start of a
awful.
bad porno.
Awful.
The songs themselves. Okay, just in case you
Yeah.
wanted to know, it is the Turtle and the Monkey. The only lyric that
Mhm.
is replaced is the beginning one, from what you hear. He starts off with, "I'm a miser when I'm rich, but I'm a gambler if I'm broke." Her original lyric is, "I'm a lamb if you love me, but a lion if you poke." I like his lyric better.
Yeah.
"I'm a miser when I'm rich, but I'm a gambler if I'm broke." I like that lyric way better. It's so much more country.
I agree, Darren. Yeah. He says he's watching the scene where Beta puts the album on again and he has his arms out. Looks like he's crying and possibly remembering the feeling of having a crowd.
Yeah, he's lost everything. Again.
Yeah.
Again.
Again.
He's
Yep.
lost it again. And he's trying to cling to anything that's familiar, even if that thing made him crazy in the first place.
If he would just stop being crazy and say sorry, he could show up to Alexandria like Carol and we'll take him in.
sorry.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Please don't be mad at me.
That's what Beta should do.
Exactly. Just show up begging and then we'll fix him.
But he's got to be like, all like, "I'm a real man. I'm a real Beta."
You gotta take the mask off and you have to sing to us. Then all will be forgiven.
If only it was that simple. If only it was that simple.
Darren says, I'd be happy if he replaces Daryl. Beta, I assume. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
wear the Rita's face, Beta. take Negan's Rita's face and wear that. Yeah.
He's totally passable. Totally
Yes.
passable.
I love it.
Hey, girl, wanna hook up? Wanna tickle this pickle?
How
I'll let you
bad
this
is
time.
that? I would be totally okay with that if Daryl left and Beta stayed.
They both grunt.
I would be totally okay with that.
I would. That would be hilarious. But like, and like nobody, like everybody thinks Daryl just gained weight or something, or like you seem taller.
Did you grow?
Did you grow? Did you get a growth spurt,
gosh.
Daryl? You seem more talkative than usual.
Grunt. Yes.
Talkative.
Yes.
Beta talks more when Beta talks more than Daryl.
Right. Whoa. Yeah, no kidding. That'd be a dead giveaway. Could never
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah. Instead of grunting.
Why are you talking
I mean,
so much?
Yeah, God. Chatty Cathy over here
Would you?
talking about noise. I mean, I'm so annoyed. Be like a reality TV show where everybody's in a booth. Can you imagine the Beta with the Daryl mask?
Oh my
like,
gosh.
Nobody's listening to me.
He's in one of those real world confessional booths.
Yeah, exactly. Wait, hold on. I gotta adjust my face. When did you get gold caps, Daryl? Anyway, so the next song that she sings, like you mentioned it before, and yes, it does play well with the episode. I have the lyrics too. But the second song is completely, and I did the research as much as possible, the second song is completely fabricated. None of the lyrics in any iteration is searchable.
Is it Emily Kinney's tune? Is it still
No.
her melody? Oh, it's not.
It's
Okay.
a different melody. It's a different melody. Obviously, same country tune with like 12-bar blues. But the lyrics are completely fabricated. I'll
Okay,
definitely
so
be
this
putting
is a
them up.
completely made up song.
Yeah, completely made up
Okay.
song.
If I knew they'd lock me up, then I would surely run. Kill so many in your name, girl, that I'd never see the sun. Was invited down to hell, drank from his glass and felt just fine. I asked him, where's that girl of mine? The devil just smiled and left me behind. I smiled back and finished my beer and said adios, I ain't shedding tears. Enjoyed the sample, but the flames are ramble, and that devil, he sure likes to gamble. I tried to stand tall, I knocked down that big old wall. Everybody! I tried to stand strong, but courted death all alone. Sing it now. I tried to stand tall and knock down that big old wall. I tried to stand strong, but courted death all alone.
Gosh, I mean, is that not an exact? I mean, parallel. He's tall. Alexandria has walls.
Right.
He's strong, and now he's gonna not guess so well.
Maybe this is like an allegory. This is what's going to happen. It looks like he makes it past that big old wall.
Yeah. 15 will end with Beta winning, and then we won't know how it ends forever.
Right. Well, you know what's so funny about that? Like, that makes Beta's defeat that much more sweet. Like, he goes full
Sweet?
Beta. Yeah, well, I mean, I know, maybe for some people. But, like, the fact that he, like, manages to get one up on our group. You know, it's like, okay,
Without
whoa.
Alpha.
Yeah, without Alpha even, right?
Yeah.
And
That's
so
impressive.
we could be okay for those of us still straggling behind, like, he can be won over. Oh, sweet Beta.
Yes.
We'll be like, okay, this has to end. As much as I like Beta, I don't like everybody else dying on the show. So it's like, yeah. So we can be okay with him going somehow.
If they really ramp him up as a bad guy, then, I mean, I would even say, okay, he's got to go. But right now, like, he's so sympathetic. Like, he's so easy to sympathize with. And like, I just feel so bad for him. Like, make me hate him. And then it'll be okay to kill him off. But I don't hate him right now. I love him.
if he kills off Alden in the way that maybe some people are speculating. Some people are speculating that Alden's going to be the water tower death.
I don't think that would be enough for me.
What if it was Aaron and Alden? That would suck.
I mean,
this is two halves of a coin. You know? The practical Alden and the hopeful Aaron. Both in one fell swoop.
I won't hate him even if he makes everyone his guardians. You're probably right, Darren. I won't. There's nothing. Like, the only thing he could do to make me hate him is probably kill Carol, and that won't happen.
Ooh. Wait, what if it does, though?
That would probably be the only thing that could make me hate him.
I mean...
And even still, I'd be like, well, she did kill his best friend.
That's hysterical. well, she kind of had to come in. Several reasons. You know what? It's funny. Like, it's funny. Like, there are some people that, like, really... Okay, when it comes to Negan, right? Like, they'll be like, fuck you, Negan, still. Like, they're just not buying it. They're not buying, like, a sort of redemption or, like, even understanding arc, like, in terms of perspective, stuff that we were talking about last week. I won't name names, obviously. But it's one thing if you don't forgive him, right? For anything that he's done. But, like, okay, can you just calm the fuck down when it comes to, like, fuck you, Negan? Like, it's like, seriously, you killed Glenn. I'm like, but yeah, Glenn fucking murdered. He fucking murked a bunch of people, innocent people, hypothetically, you know, but in their sleep, you know, at the satellite station. Like, from Negan's perspective, that had to be answered, and he got them fair and square in his crosshairs.
I think the argument there would be, you know, a good person wouldn't take an eye for an eye. Like, if that were our group, we wouldn't line up the saviors and go, all right, well, you killed our people, now we're going to take a couple of years out. Like, it wouldn't happen.
At the time, we were doing that. They were doing that.
They weren't lining them up, though. Like, it wasn't a show. We didn't turn it into a spectacle. We did what was necessary and had to be done, and just did it. We didn't enjoy it. I think that's
but
the
at that point, what's the difference? Because somebody makes a show,
enjoying it.
It's any less. Yes, and that's the argument. That's a good argument. That's the one I've made. That's true. Or enjoying it, or making a show of it. But the argument there is to make a show of it means that possibly they won't do it again. And that's okay. That's the idea of it. Example. Like, you can hate that all you want, but it's practical.
Mm-hmm. I get that. I see how that tactic would work. Make an example, and then nobody would want to do it again.
Right. And again, like, you, at the end of the day, you can decide whatever you want, but, like, there's got to be a part of you that goes, okay, think of it from their point of view. Like, how do you think they would feel about this? How do you think? Yeah. I mean, do you expect them to just roll over and kneel like the saviors? I'm like, no, they're not going to do that. And neither is Rick's group, and they're just going to be at it. And if one decides to have a little swagger about it, you know, just to prevent more deaths, arguably, to prevent more deaths on both sides, arguably, why is that the worst option? Because we're not. That's not your protagonist,
right? Well, that would be the only argument because he's not the good guy, right? Exactly, but
it's the only reasonable argument.
He needs to have a bit of a showboat about him in order for people to want to follow him. Ezekiel did the same thing. He put on a show. He created this character.
Different kind of show.
Created this. Yeah, it is a different kind of show, but it had the same results.
Right.
He put on a production. He presented himself as a leader, and people followed him.
Right.
Negan did the same thing, but in a different way.
right. A different kind of. It was more of like a Gallagher show.
right. But still, you're as a leader, you have this image.
Right.
And they chose that image. He chose that image and then stuck with it. Right.
That's the image he chose to portray, and that's what he's got to keep up for consistency's sake, to be a leader of that magnitude. Yeah, I mean, all that stuff. And so I guess the only thing that I'm trying to say is when it comes to Negan, it's like this thought never enters in their mind. That perspective never enters in their mind. Like that, it's not as if they picked a random dude to kill. Like, it had its purpose. Like literally Glenn, you know, among many others, raided that station, and so he chose deliberately. Or maybe he didn't know, and that's fine with me. But like to say that Glenn gets off scot-free because he's Glenn, and because, oh, Glenn is with Maggie, and you don't do that, you know, like, no, that's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
No. Are you kidding? I think today Glenn's death has probably been one of the most important. I mean, look at what it has done. He died 3 years ago, and we're still talking about it. Like, it is still relevant to the storyline today. Like, talk about a necessary death. You know, when we talk about, oh, we don't want to lose our characters unless it's in favor of moving the story forward. That is exactly what Glenn's death did. Right. And here we are, still talking about it.
When it comes to Daryl, when it comes to Rick. In fact, you know, the argument that you could make, and this is your linchpin argument for you, Carol, is that for all the chin wagging we have about Carol's actions, what about Daryl? You know, back then killed his best friend because of his impulse, his rage impulse. Yeah. You know, and that was the quintessential. Now, you could make the argument that says, but Carol wasn't there at the time anyway, but you can make the argument that says Carol should have known based on that moment that that's not what you do, that's what could get you killed. And she even reflects upon that moment. She
wasn't there, though. Yeah.
Right, she wasn't there, but she reflects upon that moment at the hilltop when they're about to have the Battle of Hilltop. She sees Glenn's portrait in Maggie's office, you know, Maggie's old office. And so she knows what's what. And this is, by the way, after everything's said and done, right? You know, what it means to act without thinking, you know, what the consequences could be. There's just no way, like, after all these years that she doesn't know that Daryl feels responsible for Glenn. I think it may have been voiced out loud too.
That could be. Yeah. I mean, the fact that he feels responsible, that he wouldn't be able to hide.
Right.
That's true.
And so she knows what that pain is, and she knows it now more intimately than ever, possibly. And yeah, Darren is saying, yes, no shade against Abe because I loved him, but when you introduce a character like Negan, that Abe death isn't enough. Glenn, however, was needed to make the point. Yeah.
I think I knew Abe was going to, because he obviously was the biggest threat to Negan. Just smart.
Oh, yeah, you can't have two funny jackasses on the show. One's got to go.
Well, just from any perspective, if you are in a fight, who are you going to take out first? Your biggest threat. That would be Abraham.
On the prison, on the yard, in the prison.
Exactly.
You're going to take out the biggest guy.
In any situation you're ever facing, you are always going to tackle the biggest problem first, right?
Right. And you're going to want to deal with the person who's thinking most rationally, which is like Rick. Well, yeah, it's somebody that knows, has influence. You don't want to kill that guy, because if you kill the guy who has influence, like, why do you think he kills Spencer? Like, not to go off on a rant. He kills Spencer because obviously he can tell just by reading him, nobody respects him. everybody, as he's talking, he looks around and he sees everybody's like, Spencer, what the fuck are you doing?
Right. Like, shut
They're
up,
not
shut
panicking. They don't care that he dies in this moment.
Well,
he can
Negan
tell.
also saw a traitor in Spencer. He saw somebody who was gonna, well, basically he saw himself probably in Spencer, and knew that if Spencer had the chance to take Negan out, he'd try anyway. He wouldn't succeed because he's Spencer.
Right. Well, in fact, no, you were more accurate with the first thing. He just doesn't like liars. And that's the interesting good thing about Negan. And it'll bring me back to the episode, but like the two people that we see Negan most respectfully take in, and one most recently and one way in the past, Michonne in the last episode. Like, she's literally swinging her katana at him at the time where he's about to save her anyway. He's like, I like the lady nuts on you, blah, 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 I'll take you in. Same with Carl, though. Carl guns down and kills his men, and yet he still goes, hey, Carl, come on in. Let me show you around. I like you. Like, yeah. And yet, like, Spencer, who was, like, trying to be diplomatic with him, right? And like, talk peacefully with him. But he's, like, full of shit. Like, it's not about being on the right side. He can read people. He's not respected. He's not respected. That's the key. He's not respected. Yes. And he's like, I'm not dealing with you. You're not the right person to talk to. Because that's the thing. Like, people are a resource. And if he doesn't see that you have value, or, you're a person that can be dealt with, like they can be reasoned with, or like, oh, you're useful to me, then he'll murk you. We'll read that in a second. But I want to link back to the episode, and that's when Daryl calls him out on, you actually liked it. It's the one time where Negan shuts the fuck up. Do you know why? Because Negan doesn't lie. Not necessarily.
Right.
Every time Negan has spoken, at least according to him, in his mind, everything he thinks he's saying is the truth. So he speaks it, and he speaks it profusely. But when he has nothing to say, or when he's caught off guard, which is very few times, like a couple times with Gabe, maybe, like in the trailer.
In the trailer, yeah.
and then just now, like when Daryl catches him with that, but you liked it. That's the difference. And which is why he says, what took you so long? And so it catches him off guard. He's like, there's nothing I can say about that because you are right. After they murk the fucking Whisperers. Like, you are right about that. Right. That part wasn't an act.
But it totally makes sense. I mean, nobody could be, and I am not a Negan apologist at all. Like, I still don't trust him. He's not my favorite character. I don't forgive him, all that, yada, yada.
Right. But, me neither, by the way.
We can't fault him for that. Enjoying being with the Whisperers. I mean, he was in a jail cell for 7 years,
Right.
Obviously, he deserved it. He should have been in the jail cell, but he gets out. He joins this group. He has respect. He has the ear of the leader. He's influential. Of course, he would love it.
He's part of a team, even at the base level.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I don't think anybody can fault him for that. In fact, I would give him even higher praise to have experienced that and still go through with what he did.
The thing that he tells Daryl is that, he admits obviously that the reason why it took him a little bit longer was because, he's part of a team, et cetera, et cetera. But then afterwards he says, you don't
kill people who don't deserve it, and you sure as hell don't kill kids.
And that's the thing, like you should have killed her just because Carol told you to. Yeah, that's really what it should have been about. That's the thing. Which it just goes to show like how much he wanted. Like, we saw evidence of that before he left Alexandria. Like, that he wanted to contribute, that he was enjoying the freedoms that he was getting, he was earning them, so to speak. And then it all went to shit. And then he knew that wasn't going to be possible in Alexandria. And so when this opportunity came around, then he had the ability to kind of become part of this other community, as strange as it was. It was like a fresh start for him. Yeah. It was like, I've been primed for this for so long.
Yeah.
And now here we are.
Well, he made a choice when he had a gun on Daryl too. And here's the thing. Here's my feelings on Negan in that moment. And he says, you know what? You were right. I did like it. But then he Austin shoots the Whispers instead, and then him and Daryl have their little buddy moment. He could have shot Daryl and taken over the Whispers.
Right.
He was already the alpha.
Which is what some people postulate happens in the comics. Like he becomes kind of like the Whisperer later, whatever. Right? Because we don't really know.
We don't know. We have
assume,
no idea what he does.
Yeah, people assume that that's because they know more Whisperers are out there.
I mean, there'd have to be. I mean, right. Unless you kill every single one of them, yeah. They're going to repopulate. Okay, here's the other part of that, right? So Negan chose us, right? He chose our group in that moment by not killing Daryl.
Right.
On the flip side, deeper into Negan's brain, this could only be furthering gaining our trust back. I still don't trust the guy, and that's what it's all coming down to. Okay, whether he deserves it or not, there's still a big question mark over Negan. I think as soon as an opportunity presents itself for him to be top dog again, he would jump at it and knock everybody down in his way. I think that's who he is at his core. So
what you're saying is, don't keep your eye off Negan's ball.
Yep, exactly. Yes.
Negan be Neganing.
Negan be Neganing.
As soon as Negan gets the opportunity, Negan will be Neganing.
Absolutely. He can be an asset. I would say he can be useful, but do not take your eye off him. Not for a second.
Well, basically what you're saying is he's better off where he is. Keep him locked up during the day or whatever it is, or let him out like a couple hours a day to do some chores and let him back in.
Yep. Put him on the front lines when we need a fighter.
Yikes.
But then back in this, I just, he can be useful, but he cannot be trusted. I don't think he can be trusted. He is a professional manipulator. He will win you over, and just when you've fallen in love, he will reach in and rip your heart out.
You know what? That is something to keep an eye on. That is definitely something to keep on. He's not out of the woods yet, folks.
I don't think so.
Never. Maybe never.
He will never be out of the woods for me. And doesn't mean I won't tolerate him. At best, I could tolerate Negan.
Right. For me, I don't know. Like I just see characters. See, that's the thing. I'm horrible. I'm like not the right person to talk to about this, because I do get invested in certain people's character. Like I'm heavily invested in Morgan Jones and I'll tell you why. Because I see myself in him in a weird way. Weird way. Don't overthink it. Not unless you want to know everything about me. But other than that, I'm very utilitarian when it comes to characters. I mean, I'm invested in their stories, etc. All of them, not equally, but whatever. Some more than others. But only in as much as like it uses, like you said, like you said that I said that it propels the story forward. And so, that's why I'm very interested in him sticking around. I'm very interested in seeing what happens, because
I'm interested too.
Who doesn't like a curveball or wild card?
Yep.
Darren's like, Dave's origin story, please, thanks. Well, it all started about 40
That'll
years
be
ago.
A whole episode on Dave's origin story.
It's 41 years ago. Even though it was an emotional roller coaster of an episode, it was one of my favorites. Andy Lincoln's acting was phenomenal. Daryl too, like the Negan lineup scene. Anyway.
Oh yes, yeah.
Anyway,
Ooh,
but
speaking of which, did you not get 701 vibes when Negan told Daryl to kneel?
You know what? Yes, but
serious 701 vibes.
But here's the thing that instantly diffused that for me. When they're tying Daryl up and they're untying Negan, and he says, "I'm going to take my time with this," I already knew that he was setting him up.
I did too. No, I didn't get to.
We passed go. We collected 200 already. It's like I didn't get to dwell on that moment. That vibe, because I was thinking too much about like the Whisperers and kneeling to Alpha.
Oh, okay.
So
I think at that point Daryl kind of knew something was up too, and Darren kind of agrees. Yeah, Daryl got his ass down. He did. He knelt down pretty quickly. Daryl didn't really put up much of an argument. I think he think in that moment Daryl was going to trust Negan.
He did trust Negan. Yeah. Otherwise, he would not have knelt.
I don't think
Right.
so.
Well,
really
he was
don't.
going to trust him to get him out of that situation. Yeah. I didn't when I said 701 vibes, I didn't feel like that Daryl was going to die, but it was definitely a parallel. Definitely
Yeah,
a
yeah.
callback.
I still might not agree with that, but only because it's like we've seen. Have we? Yeah. They do bow to Alpha, and didn't they even sort of bow down to Gamma when she had a name? I can't remember, but it doesn't matter.
Only during her anointing.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they were kneeling for when she got named.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's so
But-
like
but this one definitely had a different outcome. You know, obviously in 701 we see kneeling ends badly. This time he kneels and it doesn't end so badly. Well, not for us anyway. For the Whispers.
Oh my god! I shot him in the face.
I'm really glad they didn't drag that scene out, like to
yeah.
try and make us think that Negan was gonna kill. Like, no, I don't think anybody thought Negan was gonna kill Daryl.
No.
I'm
You should
glad
have
they
picked
didn't
up on
drag
it.
it out. Yeah.
If Daryl could pick up on it, you could pick up on it too. And if you can't, just enjoy the show. But I kind of want to latch on to something in that scene though. I can't, like, even when they redid his scene, his lineup scene for last episode with Michonne.
Oh yeah.
So there's something about either Jeffrey Dean Morgan or there's something about him that's just so different. Like, it's almost as if he's become a different person. Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Like, he's gotten older, he's gotten a little bit more gray. Because they didn't add the black in his mustache. Remember the lineup? He had like kind of more black on his mustache.
Did he have I don't think he had a mustache. I think he was fresh shaven for that scene, wasn't he?
He's fresh shaven afterwards, but he had more.
Is it right after that? Okay.
He had more color in his beard. Let's put it that way. And so,
like gray color? Is that
no, he had more dark color. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
All black, all slick back. He had more of it on the sides too.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't have that kind of that
he's
shaved
real
mushroom cut thing
now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So all these physical factors, but then also like almost like the way he behaves in the lineup scene in the last episode just feels different. I don't know if it's the stakes because we've had time to build up that scene and have our heart palpitations. I didn't have those same palpitations in the last episode. Even still, like, it feels like Negan is just more kind, or Jeffrey Dean Morgan is like just more kinder, more gentler, and maybe he's more relieved to play that character a little bit, like a little bit more loosey-goosey. Well, don't know where you stand.
He's probably not getting as much hate as he was in the beginning. I think he's getting a lot more love for the character now.
Yeah, you need more. You need more hate, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. You got to keep you on your toes,
right?
I
mean, Ryan Hurst, he doesn't have any hate. Like, people just love Beta.
That's insane. Yeah, because how can you hate something that, like, first of all, it's kind of passé or taboo to hate mental illness. So
true.
He wins automatically in that department. That motherfucker be crazy. Like, no, you can't. Yes, you can't say that.
Right, you can't say those things.
That's so on PC.
PC.
But yeah, like murderers, yeah, you can go crazy for them.
Negan, you want? Oh my gosh!
I mean, one day we'll have like a murderer bias. They'll be like, "That's Are you crazy? He's just death prone. He brings death. He's just a bringer of death. Say the right words. Say the right words.
Just how he is. Just leave him alone. That's just how he is.
He has a disorder. Okay. Okay.
He has a killing problem.
Yes.
It's a phase. He'll get over it.
His victims are mortally challenged.
We're gonna get canceled.
Yes. By the way, on the heels of that, here we go. And this is only what I've heard. I tried to look for this dark Twitter, but I made a comment last night in the live tweeting session that because it's relevant to when we're going to break this down, but like when Negan is guiding Daryl out of into the woods and out into the clearing where the heads are, or the head is, he says he's having deja vu, like by way of somebody else playing follow the leader, because he's out in front and Daryl has the crossbow to his head and he's just walking out in front of him, not turning backwards. And I said on Twitter, Is this the part where Daryl and Negan have a sex scene? And then later on, at the end, I said final thoughts. Like at the end of the episode, I was like, final thoughts. You know, I'm really disappointed we didn't get that Daryl Negan sex scene. Yeah, I mean, come on, AMC, missed opportunity. ... And so I heard because of that comment, and first of all, the aforementioned comment, and then the later comment, like that. Oh, dark Twitter hates you.
What? I don't know what dark Twitter.
I don't know, dark like evil Twitter, whatever. Dark Twitter. It's like evil Twitter hates you for that comment. I'm like, people.
Okay.
It's called sarcasm. Look it up. Satire.
Wait, what?
Because I said, oh, they should have their sex scene. Daryl and Negan.
Yeah.
I shipped Narrow. Hashtag Narrow.
Who would be upset by that?
People taking it too seriously. Like, no, they don't have. It's supposed to be Carol and Daryl. Okay. Come. Meanwhile, I haven't seen this. I haven't seen this reaction. I don't know why.
Beta gets away with it because he used to be Opie. Yeah. Then he got tired of that life. Faked his death to become Half Moon. Faked his death in prison, then got released.
Valid.
And became Half Moon.
Let's go into Yumiko and Magna, and then we'll root, because there's not much to say on that whole entire subject.
I felt like it was very on the surface. Like that whole aspect, like the Eugene, the Ezekiel, Yumiko, all of that. Like
mostly,
I feel like there was a whole lot deeper than what we were seeing. Like it was all pretty much right there.
Yeah. The only thing I want to pick apart with Magna and Yumiko, though, is that, you know, one could argue you're still not sure if they broke up.
Right? I mean, yeah, they're being very cordial, but
like it made me doubt my analysis. That's the thing. Like what I said 2 episodes ago, where everybody assumed that they broke up, I just said, hold on.
Wait.
They didn't really. I think she was saying, I'm done arguing, not I'm done as in I'm done with this relationship. But now, see, this episode was even more ambiguous. Like this time, they didn't use words; they just implied there's nothing for you to fix.
Right.
What?
Right. That could mean we're all good, or it can mean there's nothing to fix. It's done. It's over. It could go both ways.
Yeah, exactly. So, but the thing that I don't want to pick that apart too much. I did see something beautiful in their statements back and forth, and that was Yumiko says that Magna should be the one to leave because she was never happy being cooped up. And then I was thinking to myself, I think she could do with being cooped up for a little while around people who love her and just being around actual people instead of walkers and whisperers.
Yeah.
Being stuck in that horde must have been nerve-wracking. I mean, so that was my initial reaction. I'm like, oh no, she's not going to want to go. That's why Yumiko goes. And so, but who better than Yumiko? Because I think we're going to see a little bit more development from Yumiko. It's something that we haven't seen before, because you got hints of it in 2 episodes ago, where the big problem that Magna has that nobody else can see is how controlling Yumiko is for both her life and Magna's life. And now Magna's basically telling Yumiko, you need this. You need to not know what comes next. You need to not have a plan. You need to have another mission than the one you thought you were on, which was never a mission to begin with.
2 weeks ago, she says to her, things don't always go how you plan. And Yumiko snaps at her. I never said they did. Well, here's a perfect opportunity to prove that. Right.
And she needs this more than ever. Like
I agree.
And as competent as a leader as she is, she needs to break out of the. I think the main reason why they broke up is yes, I mean Magna was selfish, but like yes, exactly. Well, I'm more referring to the time where like Magna was being a bitch. Just be honest.
Oh, okay.
We can call a spade on this one. But yeah. But Magna does have somewhat of a point. Like, Yumiko, you're constantly looking at Magna as a thing to fix since the moment you met her,
even before the apocalypse.
Yeah, and so you need, which is the ending line from the conversation just before they leave. There's nothing here for you to fix, aka there never was, and it was never your job. And so you need to figure out what life is supposed to be for you, knowing that now. Which is all the more confusing.
About taking an adventure, like an unknown adventure.
Yeah.
Like that she needs
like, yes, there's a goal, but like it's not the one you always had in mind
Right.
for yourself and me.
And
Maybe.
and on top of that, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's
And-
okay.
And that's the thing, like, I'm glad that they were almost ambiguous with that fact, like, ambiguous with the breakup. Because it seems to me that they're not broken up, but maybe they need to be broken up, but they're not broken up.
Okay, I also feel like in this world, people aren't really so hung up on labels. Like it's
That's
really
a good
just
point.
it's just a matter of how you feel towards someone, and that's not going to change. You might be mad for a minute, but how you feel at your core, how you truly feel about these people is not going to change. So there is no breaking up. Like I don't
Right.
see people, you know what I mean? I mean, unless there was some big like wedding ceremony and they made things like super official. But until
Sounds
things
familiar.
are that, yeah, exactly, yeah, right. But until things are like that, I don't know. I don't see people hung up on the labels of relationships. It's just I feel this way towards this person.
Right. And maybe that's where Magna is like ahead of the game. She's like, until you figure that out, I'll be waiting right here. Because
Right.
that's the point. We should just
And I'm
treasure
not
what we
going
have now.
anywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah, we have this. Why don't think about it too hard. We have
So-
it.
And in
good.
that, maybe that's a lesson to the audience too. Don't get too hung up on shipping.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Pause for effect.
Kind of like what we've been saying. I've been saying forever and ever and ever and ever and ever.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, on the one hand, what you'd like to happen and what you know is going to happen are going to be
Sure.
two completely different things, and you better prepare yourself because
Yep.
be prepared. Okay,
You
so
don't know what's going to happen, but what you can say for sure is how you feel about someone.
yeah, because you only have now.
Right.
Two
And
2
that
minutes
person
from
might
now.
be gone tomorrow.
Yeah, or 2 minutes from
They
now.
might be dead. Yeah.
Yeah, once you
But
figure
how
it
you
out.
feel isn't going to change.
Yeah, how you feel is never going to change. You know,
Yep.
especially if you get killed. You can't even change your mind after you've been killed.
Exactly.
That's how people are going to think of you forever.
Definitely. No change in your mind after that.
Yeah. Your mind changes you. The only thing that I thought was worth mentioning out of all that, okay, so we can make note of the cage that they find along
Yeah.
the way. It does give you a little bit of vibes from Fear the Walking Dead season 5. Okay, so there's that. Okay, if people who don't know what we're talking about, in season 5, the kids that they find construct these little cages with crows in it to distract the walkers.
Yep.
These are like free-form floating cages with birds in them.
Ingenious.
Yeah, it's totally genius. They use
It
it later
is.
on in the season to pump the oil pumps. Instead of using people, they use walkers.
Yep.
And so they use the birds in cages to kind of propel the walkers forward, so they move it with their bodies. They move the little thing. I don't know. Anyway, the little
Like a-
crank.
Like a walker carousel.
Yeah, and to pump the actual gas. So
Right.
So there's that. And so when you see this thing, it kind of has that vibe. The pigeons at the end of the cage. It seems to me, and lucky them, that if you looked at the springs and hinges and stuff like that, and the way this cage was actually held together, it seems to me that it's like an anti-human trap, because as soon as a human comes into range, they get distracted from the bird who's going to be there, or there's going to be various birds there, and then they go towards the human, and it looks as though the door kind of opens from the inside with like a spring. So it
Mhm.
stays closed because of the spring, but if they push against that door, it'll open up. So we may see that later. We may see cages like this later,
Okay.
because I think it's only being held up by springs. So
So you're
if they-
saying that the bird is keeping them in there by distraction, but if they were to turn the other way and actually push on that, it would open.
right, exactly.
Okay. All right.
It-
Yeah.
That's what it looked like. So that's what
Okay.
I'm gonna. That's the only thing I can say about that. Because other than that, it was
Okay.
kind of a dead thing. It was like a kind of a plot, prop that went nowhere.
Yeah. Well, Yumiko, made mention, maybe it's a warning.
Which they're
A
checking the
warning of
area
what?
about.
Who knows? Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you assume that Princess set that up?
Not sure. Not sure.
I think I did, but only because I knew that's where it was Like I knew that's where we were going. I
You had
knew
a
we were gonna.
feeling, right?
Yeah, like I knew we were gonna.
But it doesn't have
I don't know.
Princess's flair, right?
It does. I mean, the only thing I could say was Princess about it, like you said, with the springs and stuff. There were some colorful elements that were wrapped up, but that was it.
Yeah, all I saw was like yellow lanyard, though. Or,
Yeah,
like something that
that's
looked
what-
like yellow lanyard.
Yeah, that's what's popping out to me. Like
But
that little splash of color, but for
if
the
it
most
was
part,
if it would have been
yeah.
pink, I would have been on board with that. But yellow, nah. Not unless there was a
I just
theme to it.
right. I don't know who else it would have been that would be that close to where Princess is at.
That's why.
Didn't
That's why I'd probably drop a pin in it. You know,
Yeah.
like just, okay,
right.
keep that.
It's we'll
Because
come
one
back
thing
to
this
that.
right, the one thing the show doesn't do is it doesn't do something for nothing.
Yes.
So maybe it was like a bigger, like a smaller thing that leads to a bigger thing in Finding Princess. Maybe. I just think it's too lame. It's too lame. I don't
Maybe
know.
it's someone who's trying to catch Princess. Maybe someone's after her and they can't find her. I mean, she's by herself, so she could probably hide easily.
She's
Or
like
she's
a Roadrunner.
neon. I'm not sure how you hide a neon sign, but
Yeah, a neon person.
right. I love how they brought her out too. That last shot is almost I was gonna pull it out. Damn it, I was gonna pull it out and I didn't. Is almost exactly like one of the comic book covers. One of the comic shots too.
Yeah,
It was really good.
like the variants. Yeah,
Yeah. Yep.
I
And the way she
I'm,
hollers.
yeah, I'm so pleasantly
yells.
happy. Yeah, especially with the sneak peeks. Like when they gave you like that little glimpse into the next episode. He goes, "Excuse me." Like if I was trying to hurt you, I'd point the gun this way. You know, like and she points the muzzle, sorry, the barrel down at them. It's like I'm trying to be friendly. I kind of like that.
I don't think we're gonna see Princess and Negan interact until season 11,
Yeah,
if at all.
If that, right? Yeah.
If at all.
Because who
Yeah.
knows what maybe they could pull another Dante and Princess be on screen for like 2 episodes and that's it, murked.
It could be. Could be.
God damn it! God damn it! Why do they toy with our hearts?
Well, and they really could. I mean, as much as I love, I'm gonna slaughter her name. Paulo Lazaro.
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 Yeah, just say Lazaro.
It's not Lazaro.
Nah, there's an accent on the A, so it's Lazaro.
Okay.
It's like Lazarus.
Anyway.
That's the way you'll figure it out. Paula Lazaro, like
Lazaro.
Lazarus.
Okay. She, as much as I enjoy her acting, I loved her on the new Lethal Weapon. She was on there for like a minute before they got
Right.
canceled. She's not as big of a name as like Ryan Hurst or Samantha Morton. Like she
All the
might
more
die
reason.
in 2 episodes.
Oh,
But she's somebody who I would expect to be gone in a few episodes. Like I wouldn't expect AMC to keep her. They absolutely could. She's deserving of it. She could do it. But that's the kind of actor you bring on for only 2 episodes.
well, actually, it seems to me like ever since the
Not
beginning
Kevin
of the
T.
show.
Carroll.
Well,
You don't bring
right.
Kevin T. Carroll on for 2 episodes.
Right. But that's the thing. Like, so Samantha Morton, Ryan Hurst. How many episodes have they been in total? You're talking about like the more of the headliners have been people that have been unknown. Like even when you go back to Michael Rooker, how long was he on the show for? I mean, yeah, a couple of seasons, sure, but
Yeah.
how many episodes too? Not that many. Not as many as you'd expect.
No, probably.
If you
I mean,
would-
if you threw the number out, you would probably go, really?
Yeah. Wow.
Are you sure?
shoot. 10 episodes only?
Yeah.
Really? Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
All things considered,
But-
you see him in the beginning, and then you don't see him like for several seasons or a couple seasons later or something. So that's what I'm saying. Like when you bring on like Paolo Lazaro, okay, she's not that big name at all, which tells me that like
Could be.
she could be on for longer or more permanently.
Sure.
In my opinion, that's what I think. Like if you bring a big name on The Walking Dead, maybe like King Batch, shoot, I just signed his death warrant. Maybe because he's not crazy well.
I was
known.
gonna say maybe because I don't know who he is.
Like,
I mean,
in
his face looked familiar. That was all I could say.
Yeah, like in certain circles, both Brita Wool and King Batch are pretty big. But beyond
I would be
that,
more upset to watch her die than him.
shit.
Just only because I know
Right.
I know her face more than his. That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But fair enough. Like it's not Paolo Lazaro has like the same kind of notoriety. Darren is like saying, "I didn't know of
Yes.
Deny before TWD." Lol, and we know how that turned out. Yeah, she made it like all the way through to the end.
Now
You know?
she's a Marvel star.
Now she's a Marvel. Yeah. Oh shit! Just like moral compasses, Marvel stars. Marvel stars die.
Right? Absolutely. Yeah.
They get off
This
the show.
great. No, this is a good show to make a name on too. for yourself. You know, you come on and be a part of this, and now people know you because you were on The Walking Dead. Oh, by the way,
Is it gonna be about Whiskey Cavalier?
no, not at all. There's a commercial. It's a bunch of celebrities, and they're like, everyone do this. They're telling people to do the same thing. I don't even know what it is. But what pisses me off is you see Sonequa Martin Green, and at the bottom it says Star Trek Discovery, not The Walking Dead. And I went, no, Sonequa Martin Green, The Walking Dead, not Star Trek.
You're watching Twilight Zone.
Yes,
Yeah. See, when I was watching the Twilight Zone episodes, the old ones, because I was watching it on CBS All Access.
Oh, I watched
So
on
that's why I saw. No, that's the thing. You saw that commercial on CBS All Access.
I did,
So
yes.
So it's a CBS All Access show, Star Trek Discovery. So all the shows they were mentioning were CBS All Access. This segment is going to be called Rachel's Ignorance. Rachel's Folly of Man. Rachel's Folly of Woman.
Don't care. Sonequa Martin Green, The Walking Dead.
Maybe it was in small print. You just missed it. I mean, you already can't hear. Maybe you can't.
That's like saying Michael Cudlitz, star of The Kids Are All Right.
Yeah. That one scene in Lost. Michael Cudlitz star.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Guest star in Lost.
From Lost.
A million years ago.
Exactly. No. Get out of here with
gosh.
that. I did. I kind of had I freaked out just a little bit after that.
You had a moment.
I did. Like, what is this bullshit?
Well, honey, they're all CBS All Access shows. That's why they're there. Like, no.
I don't care.
You show respect, CBS. You show respect.
When I was a kid, I was a Trekkie. I'm not even gonna lie. My dad was very into it, so I was very into it. I was a Trekkie as a kid, but ever since they stole her from us, I will not watch any other stupid Star Trek.
Oh my God.
Crap.
No. I will tell you flat out. If and when you see Sonequa on Star Trek Discovery, you will actually look back at her role in The Walking Dead, and I'm saying this openly as a TWD lover. You can see Sonequa Martin Green. She's an award-winning actress because of Discovery.
Mm-hmm.
You see that TWD underutilized her. She's just that good in Discovery, and even Darren agrees.
Yeah.
I love Discovery. Winky face.
Well, they should have used her more and not let her leave.
But you know what? You have got to see Discovery. It's been so great to see how far Sonequa Martin Green goes on that show. You get to see everything she's capable of, and she goes there. She will go there. She brought me to tears on a couple of episodes. Seriously.
Is she Sasha at all? When I see a recognizable actor on something else, obviously that's the only character I see is from what I saw them on first.
By the way, Darren is saying it's 100%. It's refreshing.
Refreshing, yeah.
She's not like Sasha, but she does have that heart.
If I see glimpses of the past character, it kind of ruins it for me, and then it's no longer believable for me.
I'll tell you why you won't. Because she grew up among Vulcans.
Oh, okay.
She was a foster child among Vulcans. Actually, the Vulcan Sarek, Spock's father, Sarek.
I can't keep track of everything. So we got prequels to Star Trek, and then we got Picard, which happened after, and everything's all twisted.
Yeah, if you want to know the order, it's Star Trek Enterprise, Star Trek Discovery, original series, Next Generation. And then, right in the middle of that was Deep Space Nine, and then right in the middle of that was Voyager.
Are those all shows or shows and movies?
There's all different TV series. Oh, and then you have all the movies. That's a whole other story.
See, I think that's why I got out of it. It got to be too much, just too much.
Heresy.
We hear Jerry in the beginning of the episode. We hear him several times refer to Ezekiel as boss or king, or he uses all his cute little nicknames. And then in that final moment when they're saying goodbye, and he stops himself from calling him boss, and finally, after all these years, calls him Ezekiel.
Yeah, that was tough.
That hit me so hard.
But let's see. But why did it hit you so hard? Why? What was it about it? There was something to him, the way he said it, sure. But like when you think about it, like what is it that gets you about it? Does it feel like it's like the last goodbye, possibly?
Yes, it felt very final, and it felt final for Jerry that he needed to say his name out loud because it might be the last time.
And
and he'd never done that.
Let's take it further.
He doesn't do that. He doesn't call him Ezekiel. He calls him boss or my king or the king, or he holds him in this authority position. But in that moment, he was just his friend. They were just friends.
Yeah, and so like let's take that even further. For like the last several years, it's despite Ezekiel going, "Please stop calling me that,"
like all the time.
And he's like, "Dude, I've been some guy for the longest time since I lost Shiva. Can we give it up already? Can we give it up?"
Right.
The one time he decides to acquiesce, like is that goodbye? Is like long live the king kind of thing? Like, the king is dead, long live the king. Like, so there's this moment here where it's like, let's be real. This could be the last time we see each other. So I'm gonna do what you want this time because you are my friend. You may be my king, but you're my friend too. It's like the opposite. You may be my king, but you're also my best friend.
Right. It was easier, and I think it helped Jerry cope with
that makes
everything
so much
going
sense
on to call him king.
But there's like a little buffer, like to never.
Yeah.
There's a little professional courtesy.
Right. There was always that professional barrier between the two of them, but obviously they both knew that like they were best friends.
Right. That's interesting to think of Jerry having a buffer, emotional buffer, right? Think about it for a second. Like Jerry sees Magna, instantly hugs her, can be on the same plane as her, but not King Ezekiel. That's hysterical.
He's always seen him as a king,
Well, even further. Okay, and I just heard this recently, is that Jerry wasn't even supposed to last past a couple episodes, too.
I also heard that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard that.
So
the character just developed into something that the fans love so much. We had to keep him around.
I find that so interesting and compelling that the one time that the show can be compelled to keep a character, the only time maybe, is Jerry.
I don't think Daryl was supposed to be around as long as he has either.
Unclear. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either, but
I've never heard
first of all,
that.
I know he was never supposed to exist.
Yeah, that's true.
But I heard way back when that Daryl wasn't supposed to last past like 3 or 4 seasons.
Wait, it's kind of like maybe Dale and he switched deaths. Dale was not supposed to be killed off until until Herschel, I think. Like Dale became the Herschel. I think was supposed to die by the governor's hands, and then I can't remember. There was something to do with the governor taking his death, and then Herschel dying way later on, or something like that. There was something to do with that. And Herschel might have outlasted his daughter somehow. I can't remember exactly how that went down.
Yeah, Darren, Carol died really early on in the comic books. If the comic books were the show, she would have died back in season 3.
She basically swapped with Sophia. Sophia was supposed to be around all the way till the end.
Yes,
the end.
Sophia was. Mm-hmm.
And then they have
actually, Sophia and Lydia kind of butt heads.
Yeah.
Because Sophia's in love with Carl, and so is Lydia. Sophia was always Carl's little sister, but she loved him and he didn't love her back.
Which almost is kind of like the Addie character, in a way. Yeah, Addie, the little rivalry between Addie
Henry
and Lydia. Yeah, exactly. All of them being replaced almost, except for Lydia.
Yeah.
The one thing that I saw people confuse a lot on Twitter is that they couldn't shake. And this is actually really, really fascinating, that they couldn't recognize that Alpha was part of Carol. They kept saying, you take that, Alpha. Yeah, Alpha, it's never too late. It's like, dude, you do know that she's saying this to herself, right?
Right. Carol was having a conversation with herself.
Yeah. But people literally half of the people that were making comments just it was lost on them. Like they couldn't see, and it really goes to what we were saying last week about following your protagonists.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, all you see is, and this could apply to you, Rachel, maybe, but at least you're not deluded. See, that's why I love you on the show, because like you're not deluded. You don't see Carol with rose-colored glasses. You'll admit when something looks fishy, right?
Yeah.
But like, but there's that extra when a viewer goes a little further, like, and doesn't see any of the character flaws, and therefore can't appreciate when a character goes down a dark path. They just couldn't reconcile that Alpha was that dark part of her. Again, albeit it's the part that we actually like a lot. We like admit it, everyone. You like the Carol that is just savage, that is willing to go the extra mile. That Alpha is part of her. That's the part that you like. That is the badass.
That's the part that killed Karen and David.
Yeah, that's the part. Yes, that's the part that killed Karen and David. That is the part that also is like, refuses to die. And meanwhile, the part that refuses to die is trying to kill the good part. In a way, she's trying to kill, but she's saying, "Fuck you, good part. Fuck you in the face." Can you just fucking kill this? I feel like this is like that Superman moment. Do you remember Superman 4? Or was it 3? No, it was 3. Where Superman splits into two, and they fight. He fights himself. The Superman splits in two, like this part not kryptonite, and they just fight each other in the junkyard. That's what's happening now. And like the bad one wants to take over. And that's the thing, you have to realize it's the same person. And so it was just really annoying. That's all I'm trying to say. I was annoyed. End of story. Point made. By other people not recognizing that is still Carol.
Okay, yes.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. So people like really thought it was Alpha? How?
In a way, there's like there's like a little bit of ignorance. Like, okay, like it's as if you're looking at the scene literally. Like, oh, the voice in her head being Alpha. Like, no, that voice in her head is her.
Right. She is hearing Alpha.
On a form.
Still her words. Yeah.
Or her thoughts. It's
Carol's words. It's Carol's words. Carol's thoughts coming through Alpha.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, still everything Carol's thinking about herself. So every time she said, it's your fault, she feels that about herself. She does blame herself.
Yeah. Oh, when she calls herself a stupid coos and a slit and a...
Yeah. I'm sure those are all phrases Ed screamed at her.
I just found it really amusing that it was Samantha Morton that was saying it. This is part of me wants to keep that and say, hey, you said this on TV. Shame on you. Right? I'm kidding.
She went all the way back to the worst feelings she's ever had and just blamed herself for everything, I think, at that time. Yeah, she took everything on herself.
It really, really reinforces that scene that we saw right after Squeeze, like at the end. Mm-hmm. Remember when we were saying she's basically begging Daryl to tell her off.
Oh,
to tell her that she's awful. And it really, if you didn't notice that then, like you may notice it now, look back at Squeeze and be like, oh, I understand that scene better now. She's basically looking for somebody to tell her off so that she's in a comfort zone.
She's basically, suffocating under all these emotions and these feelings of guilt, and then the roof caves in on her and she's literally buried, and she could let it kill her, the collapse. And now that she's got this walker coming after her, she could let it kill her. Be easy to end it and just let it happen.
And just look at the flowers.
Yep. Like Alpha says, look at the flowers like you're supposed to. I kind of was waiting for her to like find something floral in the area to focus on for a moment and then look away real quick.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was actually waiting for too, in a way. Yeah. But there wasn't any, except for one. There was a flower in the episode that those like 21 Things You Might Have Missed by Kirsten Acuna.
Yeah.
Whom I meant to actually get that link and just to kind of have it copied down. There is a flower. It's graffiti where Ezekiel is at. I think he's either recovering or whatever it was. But there's it's on the underpass behind him. It's like a blue one in blue graffiti.
I was going to ask if it was blue.
Yeah, exactly. So
blue.
Yeah, exactly. So that was the flowers and look at the flowers.
Yeah.
Yeah, after she kills Mika. And she goes, I'm sorry, I'll be good, etc., etc. And it's like,
Oh yes.
no,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
okay, the only one thing that I wanted to bring up was that from the beginning, when you first hear the voice, and Carol is holding the stick, and she's crossing a ditch, right? Now, if you remember last year, not exactly last year, but maybe last year and a couple episodes ago, Henry was crossing the same kind of ditch, sort of, to
Okay.
track Lydia. And so that
Uh-huh.
him having his stick, crossing the ditch, and then her right then and there mentioning, how, you let your boy go and he died all alone. Like having that be the same scene. And I don't think it was meant for us. I think it was meant
Mhm.
more like on a production level, like, oh yeah, we're crossing the same paths. We're having Carol go down the same path Henry went, and then having
Yeah.
Alpha bring up Henry in that moment. So unless you were really eagle-eyed or got that vibe, you wouldn't have noticed it. But I noticed it,
Yeah.
and it was kind of cool to see, her walking in Henry's footsteps in a way with the same stick, not the same stick, but like a stick,
Yeah.
Lydia's stick now.
I was gonna say it was Lydia's stick though, so that's
Right.
another thing there. But I was upset at the beginning when Carol puts Alpha's head on the pike, and Negan's like, "All right, man, I did my part. Now you do your part." And she's like,
Interesting.
"Yeah, I'm not going back." And she's like, "I'm not going back." I was like, "Whoa, not really how you worked out." But then immediately after that, I remembered what I said last week, and I'm like, would it really benefit him at all to show up with Carol at this point? Or would he be better off just like showing
considering?
up at considering everything, showing up on his own going, "I'm sorry guys, I'm sorry."
Excuse me, guys.
Yeah.
I
mean, he almost
use the
should've-
mask.
Right. If he didn't know how things were if he did know how things were going to go down with Carol, he should have just taken Alpha's head right to Alexandria and been like, "Hey guys, got something for you."
Right. But
Mail's
that's not
here.
but that's not what Carol would have wanted. And Carol's the one.
No,
It's the thing.
no.
It's that weird moment where you expect, and unrightly so, you expect Carol to be the honorable one and Negan not to be the honorable one. But it
Right.
brings me back to what I said earlier, which is Negan doesn't lie. Negan doesn't lie. No matter what he does, at least he doesn't lie to himself. Like in terms
He
of
believes he's telling the
he doesn't
truth.
lie out. Yeah, he believes his own shit. His shit don't stink.
Yes. Yeah.
So, but Carol is a professional liar. She's so good at lying, she believes herself,
Mhm.
like her own lies.
Mhm.
So it's an interesting thing to see them both together. Because much
Couldn't you
as
say the same for Negan though? I mean, he believes his own lie. He's saying what he believes to be true. Meaning
Oh no, but Carol knows she doesn't believe these things to be true. That's the difference. There's
Yeah.
intention. There's a lot of intention. Come on, the chameleon,
Yeah.
the Susie house sitter person with the baking the cookies and that she doesn't know how to bake. Really, you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
That's not a bad thing. It's just a weird juxtaposition. Like the person you'd expect to honor their agreements doesn't honor their agreement because that's you following your protagonists, wanting to believe
Yeah.
them. It's a weird trick, like.
Did you
Oh, she's-
believe she would honor the deal though?
Oh, not after all. Well, I mean, still, yeah, maybe I thought.
I mean,
But,
everything you just said.
But here's the thing, though. I can see why she would change her mind. I obviously, like after her interaction with Yumiko, and then feeling the weight of that guilt of like possibly and maybe definitely killing Connie. How can
Mhm.
she ever go back? No, I get that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so that scene was executed, I think, in the way that it was intended. It was intended to fuck with you
Yeah.
severely.
Well, and maybe Carol, agrees with what I said, and she knows that showing up with her isn't really going to do him any favors either.
No, I don't think that. I mean, I think no, I don't think it plays into it at all. Unfortunately, if that was the case, that would be really intelligent. What you're saying goes to what the argument that she has with herself, aka Alpha. Like, oh, if you go back, you say you're sorry, maybe they'll forgive you. Not. So
Right.
so in that sense, that makes sense. What you're saying makes sense. But I don't think that's
Like if
it,
she
though.
if she went back and brought Negan with her, that would make her look worse.
But
I
only,
think.
but only according to her. That's the thing from her
Well, yeah.
perspective. Meanwhile, like
Yeah.
had she done it for real, it would have been fine. I think they would
Probably.
they would believe her. Most of them would believe her. I don't think
Especially
it
if
matters
they
anyway.
had Alpha's head, but they don't. They don't have Alpha's head anymore. That would be a problem.
Or they could direct them to find it on the Pikes, and that would sell everything.
Well, Daryl or Negan tried to do that with Daryl, but the head was already gone. So
Exactly.
it would,
So,
it would still be gone.
but at that point, we didn't know. So that's the thing. So
Yeah.
she decided to flew the coop. But that's why this whole thing is complicated. Which is
But she
kind of
comes back. That
What-
to me is the most important thing.
Yeah.
We've seen her self isolate before, but
Yeah.
this time she didn't. She realized, you know what? They are going to forgive me. I will say I'm sorry, and I'll eat if I have to earn back their trust.
on the heels of that, and maybe to go take a couple steps back, Daryl and Negan have this one moment on the log, which is similar to like a couple of scenes that you may have seen, like Rick Grimes and Daryl in the past. Like they're both sitting on a log facing the same direction. They have the brother conversation, but at the same time, Negan and Daryl are sitting on the same log but looking at opposite directions,
Yeah.
which I thought is kind of interesting. And surprisingly, like Negan is pointing outwards, like not towards Alexandria. And Daryl, when he gets up, he's walking towards Alexandria. At the end of their conversation, like where it comes to like, oh, this is why I didn't fall in with the Whisperers, even though like I felt part of their group. And he talks about the women and stuff. At the end of that conversation, Negan goes, "Hey, aren't you going to go after Carol?" And Daryl just keeps walking on in the direction he was facing, meaning that way was Alexandria. So it's very telling what happens at the end of it. He's like, I'm through, in a sense, I'm through going after her. I'm through chasing after her. I'm going to have to trust. And I don't know if that was meant to be like that. I don't know if it was meant, maybe they could have like hit on that point a little bit more.
No, I think I picked up on what you're saying. Exactly. Yeah. Like that was sort of his line. He's like,
right. I have to trust that she's going to have to come back on her own. I can't go after her the way, maybe I did in the past. Because when he's
been doing, yeah, he has been chasing after her.
Yeah, lately, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So he said, I'm done chasing after her. I have to trust that she knows what she's doing and that she's going to find her way back home. You know what I mean? Emotionally.
Right. Yeah.
Not geographically. And then, and she does. And who's there to open the gate for her?
Daryl, specifically.
Daryl,
And I'm wondering though, like by the way, and then again, carolers lost their minds. I'm like, you're missing the entire. You're missing the.
The point. Yeah.
Yeah.
He gives,
but he gave up on her, and she. It's like if you love something, set it free. Okay, calm down. Calm down.
Take a seat. Take a seat.
Take a step back. Okay, now fall off a cliff. A little
back.
more.
One more. Little more. A little to the right.
Little to the right.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it would be easy to jump all over that, but yeah, as I've said,
but that's like completely ignoring the other side of that.
It is.
Like the darker implications of that.
Right.
Yeah.
They're missing the most important thing that happened. Daryl finally stepped back and trusted her.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he did. That's the thing that really sucks about this whole thing, and it really bites me in the ass. Is that like this whole time, in a way, Daryl has been trusting her to do the right thing, and then constantly disappointed. Okay, do the right thing. Okay, disappointed, and he's doing it again, but he's not chasing after her. And I don't think he ever really, like, he would a little bit, like when the pills thing came out. He noticed it, went after her for it, said something about it, but didn't stop her.
Right.
Same thing with the Whisperer. I mean, maybe a little, but not really. Like, he tried to kind of outsmart her, to corner her and at least get to talk to him about it. Refused to talk to him about it. How do you deal with somebody who doesn't want to be dealt with? Like, how do you...
I feel like that was Daryl's way of trying to get some control over her. I mean, Daryl's not a controlling person. So
no, yeah.
For him to get control over anyone, I think would be a very awkward journey for him. Like it would be weird for him to try and control a person or what they're doing. But that might have been him trying to control or at least contain her actions. And finally he was like, you know what?
Well,
I have
maybe
to trust that she knows what she's doing.
I don't think control is the right word when it comes to what Daryl was trying to do. I know what you're saying though.
Well,
But-
I only picked that word because it's so relevant to everything else going on.
But I wonder another thing. I wonder if this is something we should be actually looking at a lot bigger. Like Daryl, after assuming so many times that, oh, we're friends, oh, eventually she'll come to me and talk to me and tell me what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I keep giving her the opportunity. But then I think maybe at a certain point, maybe after talking to Negan for some reason, and maybe there is something about control through this episode when it comes to Beta, when it comes to Carol, controlling a situation and not having any, and
Mhm.
realizing that you don't have any. And then it goes back
Forgiving
to Daryl.
And forgiving yourself for
And
either
for-
giving
yeah.
up control or what happens when you do give up control.
Exactly. You bring it back to Daryl, and it's like, I have to step away from the situation. I'm not to blame for this. Like, and maybe even more so, she has to decide if she wants to be my friend, because it feels like she hasn't been my friend, and not faulting her for this, but she hasn't been my friend really since she went on that boat. Or maybe I lost her.
Yeah.
And that's the bigger picture question, because even if she comes back to Alexandria, are they still, maybe they'll always be friends, and maybe that's the default answer, but are they really? I wonder. It really does make me think about, like, because it seems like as though they have to walk like a kind of road to get back to either the way they used to be, or to be this new thing that they are as a result of all the chaos.
Yeah.
And I really, really wonder, because I really am hurt by this lack of friendship that has to be apparent by the end of this episode. Yes, she comes back. Yes, he's the one to let her in. But
we don't see anything after that.
But look at their faces. No
Yeah.
hug. She walks right past him.
What it made me think of was 2 weeks ago when they were standing in the cemetery and she says, "Please don't hate me." And he says, "I could never hate you."
Right.
Everybody went, "Oh, that's so sweet." But now I'm thinking, okay, what's worse?
I could never
I'll
hate
never-
you.
I can never hate you, but I might
Or I will
feel
always
nothing.
love you.
Or
Right.
I
right.
might feel nothing for you. You're nothing now. Your actions have taken you completely so far out of my life. I don't hate you, but now you're nothing. I feel nothing towards you.
Well, that is a bit of a binary. Like you could look at it three ways. I will always love you. That's what
Yeah.
he could have said.
Could have.
Or B, I wouldn't say that. Or C is, I could never hate you, which
Yeah.
is kind of like, it's on the positive side, but it's a bit on the ambiguous side. Like
Right.
I could never hate you. I will never remember you. I will never, I'll never have negative feelings towards you, or in terms of, no, that's not even true.
No.
I can never hate you means I could never hate you, meaning I could never have those active hate feelings towards you.
Right. But could he feel nothing towards her?
Nothing is, I think you'd have to actually say that. I feel nothing towards you. Or like, I feel nothing. I
Right.
think you'd actually have to say something like, there has to be an active in that.
Right. But what I'm saying is when he says that, he says, "I could never hate you."
Yeah, at the very least, I could never hate you. That's how I interpreted it.
But what I'm saying is he could have continued that statement and said, "I could never hate you, but I might feel nothing for you."
Right. But I think that's why I say at the
Wouldn't
very
hate you.
least. Yeah, at the very least, I could never hate you. That's what I think.
That to me would be worse.
This is a road. This is like a really, and that's why, like, all these things combined, and then you get to the end scene, and it feels like there's there's not like he's relieved. You see it in
Mhm.
his face.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
relieved, sort of, but she
Well, that
knows
he's
that.
there.
But she's realistic. She's like, in her face, you do see there's a bit of a realism into it. Like, I'm here, but I'm not out of the woods. Like,
Right.
not really. I'm still back there. I'm still
Yeah.
back there working it out. But
Mhm.
now I got to work it out with him. or I got to work it out with my community, or I got to make
Everybody,
amends. Yeah. And I got to make
Everybody,
amends. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, so there's that. So it's like, yeah, I mean that's that's all I'm thinking by the end of this. It's like,
Yeah. Well,
their relationship has got to change at this point. There's just no doubt. There's no going back. Like, it might be okay, and it might even be good, but it won't be the same.
Mhm.
And that hurts. That really does hurt.
Mhm.
That's a sad place to leave off on if we are going to end the episode here.
Right.
But it's true, and that is where the episode kind of leaves off, you know?
Well, I would rather have someone hate me than feel nothing towards me. Because if someone hates me, that means there's still emotion involved. And what do they say? There's a fine line between love and hate. So if you hate someone, you still have passion towards them. If you feel nothing, you can't spark something from nothing.
I always think when somebody says they feel nothing towards somebody, I think that's a humongous lie. Unless you don't know that person at all, then you can definitely have nothing feelings. I find that anytime anybody, like let's say exes or whatever it is, I find that anytime anybody says that, it's a humongous lie. Humongous. They
I say it,
that,
and I'm not lying.
but in lieu of other feelings. Usually, when somebody says that, they have somebody on the back burner.
Yeah, usually.
Yeah, almost
there's
all the time.
there's people that I like just feel nothing towards, and like like you said, a lot of it is because I just don't know people. Like I can't form an opinion on someone that I've never met or talked to or anything. But
Right.
I can also feel nothing towards people who, maybe in my opinion have wronged me. and now I'm at a point
shutting down though, because rather than give them the satisfaction of a reaction or emotional investment, you shut down. But that doesn't mean that it's not there. It's just behind a wall. Right?
Well, there's one person in particular that I think of when I have this conversation. And in the beginning,
I think I know who you're talking about.
You don't, I promise.
Oh, really? Okay.
Really. In the beginning, I think you're right. It was more of a wall, like just something to hide behind, just be all stoic and just don't feel anything. And again, to not give them the satisfaction of even thinking it matters.
Yeah. That
in the beginning, it was
right.
a lot of that. In the
Right.
beginning, it was a lot of that. Recently, I've found I literally feel nothing when I think of this person. Like they'll pop into my head. I don't feel angry. I don't feel happy. I don't feel a loss. I don't feel, I literally feel nothing when I think of this person. They're just someone who existed in the world.
I have an answer for you.
Okay.
And it's a good answer because it's not even like a matter of feeling nothing. It's a matter of, I don't know I'm not even familiar with the person that I was when I was with them. Like I know what that person was. I'm afraid to go back to that person. But like I could never go back to that person because I've grown. I'm so far beyond. You know what I mean? Like I'm so far beyond that person. I'm not even sure what it'd be like to be with that person or to be that person. The person that I was. And that's how I kind of like I've been in situations before where like I have the exact feelings that you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Where like it's so alien to me that I don't have those feelings. Like I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
You know? So
this isn't an ex.
this was a friend for me.
This was just a friend. This was a friend of mine and we used to be friends and some shit went down and we weren't friends and I did dislike her for a long time. And then eventually it just turned into nothing. It just turned into, oh yeah, I haven't thought about that person in years.
You know what's so interesting about and actually let's tie it into Michonne's episode because it's a lot more work to kind of go through it, to kind of see what the other side is like, to see where at some point along the way things went wrong and you have to kind of fix yourself. Right. Mm-hmm. So Michonne sees the mirror darkly. I think we concluded at the end of the episode that like, had she not gone through this experience and had the chance to meet Andrea again, she would not have gone through and helped her because of the things that happened to her the last 7 years, let's say 5 years.
Yeah.
So knowing that and applying that to our own lives, when we're the ones that are forced to have to move past a certain situation, we're the ones who grow. The other people don't have to. They're the ones who fucked us. We become different people to adjust to. And isn't that funny how almost every time I've seen this situation, the other person kind of sort of stays the same. You know, like still stays the same kind of dick
because
bag.
they're unaffected by it. Yeah,
exactly. We're the ones who've grown. Like we're the ones who did the work. And made us better. So so we're so alien to the person that we once were that like we don't even know what it was like to actually love them or like them or whatever it is. Like it's alien to us. The wall is still there. It's just you're a different person. It's like you're somewhere else.
I'm not affected by by these emotions anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't belong to me anymore. It's like it doesn't matter. It doesn't belong to me. Whatever that person was, I'm not that person anymore. So it doesn't even apply. So it's like I don't even like, even if I had those feelings, I'm just not familiar with them anymore. I don't speak the same language I spoke once.
I guess the whole point in me bringing that up was, you know, what would be worse, somebody hating you or someone feeling nothing towards you, like between Carol and Daryl. Right. Okay, he says, I could never hate you.
That's why I wanted to loop back, because it's still fresh. And so Carol hasn't done the growth.
Right.
And Daryl. Sorry, more Daryl. Because he's the one with
getting the shit on.
Well, yeah.
Kind of getting shit on.
Shit on or shit. And has the opportunity to shit on, but doesn't take it.
But doesn't, yeah.
But, so yeah, it's too fresh. It's happening now. And so the only reason why I say it's not bad is because I don't know what to think, is basically his response. It's not the answer you want, but it's the best answer that I can give you now. Like, I will never hate you. Even throughout this, like, it's the mature answer in the moment, in lieu of, like, kind of like Eugene when he pushes Rosita, you better leave before I say something completely wrong and not at all true. But Daryl is basically saying, this is the best I can do right now. The best I can do is say, I will never hate you. And I know even if I say I hate you, I don't.
It's not true, right?
Right.
Right.
But like in lieu of saying shitty things, he's saying, I will never hate you. We'll work on the rest.
Yeah.
My thing is his answer was always like an open-ended thing, like meaning I will never hate you. Whatever happens from here, that's up to you and me. That's how I interpreted it. It was like, if you do the work, you have an in. That's how I interpreted it. I don't think it's like lack of feelings. It's more like I could never hate you, and so it's kind of on you what to do from here.
Right. Well, and the thing is, I mean, despite her terrible decisions, it was still with the best of intentions. So you can say whatever you want about the outcome. I mean, how could you hate someone for just trying to do what they believe is right, regardless of the outcome? Obviously, we know
what they believe is right. That's the thing.
Exactly. Carol believed she was doing what she felt was right. How do you fault someone for that? How could he hate her for doing what she thought was right?
Oh, you know what? That's the thing. Like, I think that factors into his response.
Mm-hmm.
He knows what she's been through. I think it's more like how, you know what it is? It's a lot. Okay. And I'm glad that they introduced the pills in the beginning.
Yeah.
Because the one criticism I had about Daryl was, how do you put a person like that as someone to guard all of you? It really is an allegory for what happens for the rest of the season. Okay, so you don't judge her for taking the pills, but you don't give her a handgun and have her guard you. Do you know what I mean? It's like giving a drunk person the keys. Yeah. That's what made me so angry at him. Okay? Mm-hmm. But after so many instances where that happens, and it keeps happening, like, and obviously he has like the wherewithal to finally say, hey, wait, I'm going to not give the drunk person the keys. Oh, wait, she keeps taking them anyway. She has a backup pair? What the fuck? How did that happen?
Who the hell?
But when did it get away from you? At some point he could have stopped this, and it just got away from him. Like, and when he tried to outsmart her by looking at the bag, by making her, she went off and he looked in her bag, but she left it there on purpose because she outsmarted him, because that's what she wanted to see. Anyway, you can't outsmart Carol, but
they can't outsmart each other. I mean, they're both they both know their little tricks.
Yeah, but she has an edge on him because he is coming from a place of cooperation still, like Rick and all that stuff. It's not happening. She is too committed and not to their friendship. Obviously, she's more committed to and that's the fault. Like if you want to start with a baseline in terms of her problem, is that she is willing to go further than she's ever gone before. She's willing to destroy their friendship just to meet this end. And that has got to be wrong at some point. And maybe adding insult to injury, like farting in his face. Oh, I made a pact with Negan and I didn't tell you.
Yeah,
Negan of all people. The one that locked you up.
That had to hurt.
And tortured you.
Again, though, like I keep going back to Carol's frame of mind. I don't think she doesn't look at it as I'm gonna put my friendship on the line. That doesn't even enter her mind. She doesn't think about the damage she's doing. She only thinks about what has to be done. The rest be damned.
And I'm gonna say that, I'm gonna go on a limb and say this, but the only reason why you can say that so comfortably is because it went in steps. It went in baby steps. Like I said, it started with the pills. And then went further and further and further and further. But it slowly fed you the poison until the point where you could say, obviously, obviously she didn't have a limit,
right?
But we didn't know that. We didn't know that at first.
We could also go so far as to say that Daryl was enabling her. I mean,
yeah, but at some point, like I said, that's why I brought up the pills. Like, yeah, and then it got away from him. Like then it was the cat was completely out of the bag. It game over.
Like things got too bad too fast.
Yeah, you could not put the genie in the bottle. You couldn't put it back in the bottle at all. That's when it got out of his hands. Like maybe he could have stopped it with the pills. Maybe he could have caught it and said something. It does take you all the way back to the beginning when she first got off the boat and they ride away, and she goes, "Let's just live somewhere else."
Yeah.
But now I'm wondering, holy shit. She was saying this to trick him the whole time. She said this to kind of throw him off her intent the entire time. Alpha says that Carol,
when she wanted to go to New Mexico?
Exactly. It was complete fabrication. Okay. Think about it.
You don't think she ever wanted to go?
No. You know why?
No.
Because Alpha Carol said, you never let you had me in your mind the whole time on that boat. It was in the day that went past that you didn't think about me and how I got away, etc., etc. And like, and then it makes me think of like that interaction with the friendship bracelet and all that stuff. It was the smoke screen. It was a total smoke screen.
So she wanted to, so she put it out there so that she wouldn't be suspected of having this plan all along.
Or having these feelings, maybe even. That is so crazy, though, if you really, really think about it.
What if Daryl had taken her up on it? What if he had said, okay, let's go?
She would have, you know what? And she would have found a way. But maybe that's the thing. It's the same thing as the bag. You know that he wouldn't have taken it because you know that he's invested.
Yeah.
He's invested in this community.
She knows what to say. Yeah, she wouldn't have said it if she thought he would have went along with it. That's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, it was like Kirsten said. You kind of literally have to look at the whole season now with this new pair of glasses and see that.
Yeah.
This is actually a little bit darker than we ever thought possible. Like we saw the poison unfold, incrementally, but it's been there the whole time. Like if you go back to that friendship bracelet scene. And you go back to New Mexico. Oh, let's just go to New Mexico, Daryl. Come on, can't we please? It's like, holy shit. Yeah. Oh, she has no intention, but she's saying it. She's going hard on it, so that he'll be like, oh, don't be crazy, you dumb bitch. like you're not,
You're absolutely right, because what was that whole interaction happened the very first time Carol tried to take off on her own. That was the first time she tried to leave by herself. and Daryl just invited himself along. And that was when she brought up New Mexico. She was already on her Whisperer's mission when she brought that up. She was already out there doing that.
Wow. It's like, who's taking who for a ride? That's the thing. And when you look at that episode with a different pair of glasses, you're like, oh, this went way deeper than we ever thought was possible. This wasn't something that was gradually unfolding. This was already in motion. And Negan only came along for the ride after Silence of the Whisperers, after he got in trouble and got locked up again. That's the only time he came into this plan.
Oh, that's right, because he killed, what's-her-nuts? The girl. Oh my gosh. The highway woman. Highway woman, yeah.
Exactly.
That beat up Lydia.
Yeah. And so she's probably been trying to get out there this whole time, but she needed the opportunity, the right opportunity. Negan's escape. I have to go after Negan.
Oh, I have to go look for him. Yeah.
I almost wonder, like, now, looking back, if there are other moments where she tried to leave but couldn't because of reasons or something.
Mm-hmm. But that goes back to my point as well. Everybody was so quick to jump down Carol's throat saying she's getting everybody killed and putting everybody in danger. No, she tried from the very beginning to do this on her own. Other people, everybody followed her. She didn't ask a single person to come along with her.
That's the thing. It's not up to her, though. It's not up to her alone. It's kind of like what Daryl says
to her.
Well, Daryl says
it is to her.
Yeah, right. Which obviously makes sense. But then when you look at us, we're like, okay, am I supposed to accept that? Because like Daryl says to Negan, you could have got, and he falls silent the second time.
Mm-hmm.
He says you could have gotten you almost got those kids killed. You're like, all that stuff on Hilltop, and he falls silent because he's not wrong a little.
Right.
He's not wrong because he did hesitate. He didn't need to finesse it that much. Maybe he didn't need to hang up those Hilltop scouts. All that stuff in progression. So anyway,
well, and I think Daryl was saying if Negan had killed Alpha sooner, then that whole battle at Hilltop could have been avoided.
Right.
But could it have? I mean, would we have avoided it, or would Beta have just brought another army? I mean, I don't think we would have gotten out of it. We maybe postponed it a little, but it still would have happened.
Yeah, I think it still would have happened also. And I also think that a dead Negan and not a dead Alpha, if Negan didn't finesse it the way that he did, because I'll be honest, they're terrifying. Alpha and Beta are terrifying, and you would really need to at least be able to charm one of them to get to the other one. Like, you could charm Beta, and you could be a loyal Beta servant, suck some dick, whatever. But that's the thing, like, you could be Beta's slave, and then you could probably get to Alpha that way, because you have to take out the big guy, right? And so, but instead of doing that, he took out the Alpha. Like, he bent the knee so much that he went around Beta and got into her inner circle, her inner sanctum. So, so he took a arguably maybe, I think he took the shorter route. He appealed to her ego, and maybe even identified with her. That's why I think like he enjoyed it. Not only did he enjoy it, I think he kind of fell for her too. I think he died before admitting it, but I think
he started to fall for her, and then her crazy came out, and he was like, ew, it's crazy, like I said, hot factor. Yeah.
When we were covering it, I was kind of like, I think. Yeah, there's a bit of a sadness because again, like it's like, is there anybody out there for me? And I realized there isn't. This was as close as it was going to get, and then yet she's too crazy. Right?
And she's psycho. Yeah,
that's sad. That's really sad. Like as close as to an equal as I could ever have. So yeah,
well, I don't know. I mean, I think Carol's pretty much proven herself an equal to Negan.
With those lady nuts. Folks, if you like what you've heard, head to ratethispodcast.com/squawking-dead. Leave us 5 stars and an eggplant, and that's all we need. My brother did it. Why can't you?
Thanks, brother.
Thanks, brother. You've been looking at that little thing in the corner. ko-fi.com/Squawking Dead. Support the podcast. Buy us a coffee for as little as a cup of coffee. You get 30 days of free access. You could be with us in the chat like Darren was today. No lag. Just like Darren, you can get an unedited copy of this episode with pre-show, post-show, and all the little mistakes and foibles in between. And things we just took out. Things that were too un-PC to broadcast. Because really, we're closet racists. Don't you want to know? This way you can cancel us. You gotta pay a little to cancel us. But yeah, so yes, head to ko-fi.com/Squawking Dead, and just support if you want to support the podcast. And if you subscribe, the party keeps rolling. If you give us $3 a month, you won't miss any content. And I mean this seriously. If you cannot afford to support us, and I fully understand that, set up an account on ko-fi.com anyway, and then just follow us, because we've been posting a lot of free stuff a lot lately. We've been doing a lot of live watches of, let's say, The Twilight Zone. I did 2 of them at least. One of them was Shotgun. I did it dead of night on Saturday, and I watched a couple episodes with a couple other people. And I prepared in advance for the last one, which was just last Saturday. And I had a bunch of people, and we were just watching 4 different episodes of The Twilight Zone, and it was great. It was a bunch of close friends and a bunch of podcast followers, and we all, we all got to muse on the "it was a different time back then" moments. You had to be there. But yes, we post free stuff all the time, and we only post it there. So it's one of those things where you just kind of had to be there. And if you created a coffee.com account, and followed our page, you would have been able to see that. So anyway, I've been David Cameo, CosmoMom09. Thank you very much. We're eagerly looking forward to the season finale, where Beta seems to overtake Alexandria. Aaron and Alden might be in peril. Negan and Lydia go off somewhere and eat spaghetti probably. So who knows what's going on with that? And where will we end up by the end of the season? Technically, when will that double episode special air of The Walking Dead and The Walking Dead World Beyond? Find out next week on Squawking Dead. Goodbye now. Say goodbye, Rachel.
Bye.
See you later, folks. I hope to see you guys very soon.